So.
And Lucy's not here, right?
Right. This is an open meeting of the Berlin Historical Commission on Friday, November 8th. We are starting about 10:13 a.m. And present are Ellie Bergen and Janet Woodward here. June Miller here. And Barry Ager is expected momentarily. Lucy Ayers is excused this morning. And we are subject to being recorded. I always forget that. So we do have some minutes. We are lacking, we have September 6th, which were written by Barry. And those are fine except for a couple of very tiny little errors.
Are you taking the minutes?
I was going to do some until Barry came, because I don't like to do them.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure somebody was, but yeah, if you're willing, until he gets here, that's great. I got my fill of it for a while. It's good practice for when you have to do them all, Ellie.
Okay, Barry's minutes were sent to us. There's just a couple of little things that I mentioned to him that we would need to change. And he had September 20th as the date by which we had to have those things out of the mechanical room, but it was actually September 30th, so we'll have to change that. And then there was one spot where he used COA instead of CPA to describe funding. So it's a little Scrivener error that he'll correct. So I move that we approve the September 6 minutes with those two changes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Unanimously approved. All right, now, I did the September 16th minutes, and they are very short, and I will happily just read them to you. I think it'll be fine.
9:16.
9:16. That was the meeting that we were included in, but had to post as a meeting of our own with the Select Board. Berlin Historical Commission, room 227, Town Offices, September 16, 2024, 6:30 p.m. Attending June Miller, Lucy Ayers, Eleanor Bergen, Janet Woodward. Excused is Barry Ager. He had a council meeting for his church. Commission members were invited to join the Select Board's meeting to discuss the relocation of town historical collection items. Of immediate importance is the relocation of items now stored in the town office's mechanical room. This must be accomplished by September 30th to allow planned work to be completed in that room. At a future date, the commission will be asked to relocate all town historical collection items stored in the old Red Fire Station. It is expected that that building will be demolished. The Select Board cited the Commission's lack of attention to removal of collection items from these locations and dissatisfaction with our ability to confine items to available space. Members asked for help in finding suitable relocation areas, but none was offered. Respectfully, June Miller, Chair.
That's what happened.
Do you want to add anything to that? Barry wasn't there, so it would be up to you two.
I would accept them as written.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve the minutes as written. And can we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Janet seconds. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimously approved. Okay, so the next one would be the 23rd, and I wrote those two. They are very short. Berlin Historical Commission, Bullard House, 4 Woodward Avenue, September 23, 2024 at 1 p.m. Attending June Miller, Lucy Ayers, Barry Ager, Eleanor Bergen, and Janet Woodward. Commission members met with Energy Committee Chair Tim Wysocki to discuss heating and cooling options for the Bullard House. Tim directed our attention to high-velocity small duct systems as a viable option for the Bullard House. Members were encouraged to learn of this option and to review the printout that Tim presented. At Tim's suggestion, June will ask our town admin, Kristen Rubin, to refer us to National Grid Community Solutions team. Members stayed to discuss an appropriate time to remove historical collection items from the town office's mechanical room. It was decided to post a meeting to accomplish removal on September 25 and another on September 27 if needed. Lucy Ayers volunteered to ask for help to offload these items. Cordelia's Farm has offered a container on their farm property for storage. Respectfully, June Miller, Chair.
I think that's,
Anything else to add?
I think so.
Okay.
I move to accept as written.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimously approved. Okay, now, we're lacking the 25th, which I couldn't write because I wasn't there. That's when you actually move the stuff to the container from up above or down the hall. And then the 2 meetings in October we don't have from Lucy. So we're kind of behind there.
June, would a short but sweet explanation of what we were doing with the, when we were moving things.
That's her, I wasn't there.
Oh.
She has to write
But
those
Lucy
minutes.
was there.
Lucy
Oh,
was
okay,
there.
so she'll write it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, she's supposed to, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, the first thing under the Bullard House is the repair that's already happened,
The roof.
the roof. There's no overlap of the trim to the siding on the town hall side of the dormer, and they still haven't fixed that. And I haven't paid them. So Lucy said they would be there probably last Saturday, but it's still the same. There's nothing has happened there. And she hasn't communicated with us, so,
Yeah.
What was the exception, the thing that didn't get fixed? Did you say that?
the siding on the dormer, that faces the town hall, is not overlapped by the trim board, which means that water can get in there.
Mm-hmm.
I had the building inspector come to look at it, and he noted that, and so I think I sent you all that information.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we discussed it the last meeting.
yeah. So nothing has happened to correct it.
And which side is it on, the
Town hall side.
town hall side?
Yeah.
Just in case Lucy
I mean,
wants to.
you can have a look at it, but as far as I can tell, nothing has happened to correct it. And I haven't paid the bill because I want them to fix it before they get paid. All right. Lucy has, so we can go on to the other issue with Gibkel, which is their proposal that we got the last time from Lucy. And this is a follow-up that she has given to us today because she can't be here. So why don't we just read it? don't think there's anything new here, except, further advocating for it to happen. Austin Design sent an email in response to this proposal to Kristen and me and the other company, HSH. And he said that the drain, if it should be needed,
The French drain?
yeah, is near, it would, I think I mentioned this to you yesterday. It's near the water retention.
No, I didn't.
No?
I didn't talk about it.
It would be, that drain would be near where the water retention area is
Water retention area? Where's that? Oh,
in near, on the edge of Woodward Avenue.
oh, the basin.
Yeah, he calls it water retention, but
Yeah,
It's a
isn't it a
basin.
catch basin
yeah.
that they're
I
talking
think
about?
So the upshot is that we need to meet with Steve Tyler, who from HSH, and with Peter Webster, who is the Austin design person. Next at a Zoom meeting, because it's too expensive for them to come here. So I propose that it be next Friday morning, since that's a morning that most of us can deal with. And if no one can come, I don't have to post it, I'll just go myself.
Yeah.
But I think Lucy will want to go, unless she has, another commitment.
Yeah.
So if you,
Tell me the date again.
it's next Friday, which is the 15th. So if you want to come, I will post it as a meeting.
Wait, I'm not doing a good job of taking my notes.
I'm
Barry,
helping.
would you be willing to take the notes from now on? I mean, from this point on? I've got roof repairs, okay, and
I
then
can do it,
drain.
I can do it.
I've been taking notes
I
too,
can,
so
I could,
we have a lot of notes being
no, I never
taken.
did pick up a pen.
June, are you gonna?
Drain
take some?
proposal
No, he's gonna do it.
by
Well, I'm-
Gibkill?
You want to back up
Are you all
here?
right, Barry? You look so
He's
funny.
sleepy.
You need a cup of coffee.
We could have tea here.
Barry just does such good notes. I hate to volunteer, but I will volunteer if it's not good for you, Barry.
He's gonna do it.
I will give you what
You're
I've got
talking with
today.
Austin
You want me
and
to?
HRS.
HSH to look over the proposal by Gibkel for the
Well,
French drain.
that will be one item.
Yeah.
But what precipitated all of this is Kristen's concern that the 25,000, which is the total of their two proposals, uses up half of our money, and she is worried that there's overlap. That thing.
We don't want overlap, but I don't think that the 50,000 was expected to go as far as,
Yeah,
Well,
We need it to
that's
go.
the 55,000 that is ARPA money.
right.
so the drain
Um,
proposal needs to be synced with what Austin and the Complete
Right.
Streets plan.
HSH,
Yeah, HSH.
It's not so much, it's not the Complete Streets plan, it's Austin's involvement with, its design, its engineering. It's for the site work,
Okay.
for the parking area,
the-
yeah.
Yeah.
Those two companies need to,
To get together.
to coordinate,
So
their-
Austin
their
and
skills.
HSH.
Yep. So, on the table is posting a meeting, next Friday. So that, a Zoom meeting, so that we can all talk together about, this coordination.
If the meeting doesn't include more than two of us,
Right,
it wouldn't have to be a posted meeting.
that's right. So I need
So
to
we
know.
have to decide which way we'd go.
Yeah, so do you want to attend? Or-
I wouldn't mind declining, because I'm really not terribly good at this.
All right.
But I will do it if nobody else can.
I think that Lucy will want to,
Oh, yeah.
and I would like Barry to, because he has
Which
the
would be
backstory.
three right there,
Would
right?
be three right there. You don't want to?
Okay, all right. No,
I think
I mean,
Barry
I-
needs to, because you
I
know
need
the
to be
history
there.
of
I need to be there.
the town hall
The
work that's been
backstory, you
done.
have the backstory on all of it.
Yeah,
And I have some of it, but it's only been because you informed me.
I guess part of this, the French drain thing, is we're in a different realm with that than this person is talking. We're not talking about putting the French drain into the town drainage system, into the street drains.
Okay,
I think,
He did-
at least my understanding of that is that the French drain is you put underground to take water, to collect water underground, and then you channel it out to a place where it can go. And it won't necessarily be on the surface. My thought is they were gonna make, like a dry well or something out in front of the house downhill to take that water away so it wouldn't go in the cellar.
yeah.
And it wouldn't involve going into, it wasn't gonna
Any
involve
catch basin.
going into a bigger.
It's like a little run that water can go through.
And a place the water can go and get out of
Yeah.
out of this area.
And any French drains that I've been at all involved with usually are like a long drainage ditch of some sort that is made as a French drain.
Yeah, and
But I don't know, I don't want you to take that as,
I mean, it's like to get the water around the building or
yeah,
whatever.
to move it and not just have a
And
block.
not necessarily to put it into a street drain, street sewer thing.
That's what we did with
Well-
our house, and it
well, what it-
drains it off.
what it says
And it
here,
has, either it goes off on the surface someplace
Mm-hmm.
downhill, or it goes into, you make a place underground that's dry well kind of thing.
Yeah.
That the water can go into and soak away.
And
at
dissipate,
In a
kinda.
way, dissipate, so it doesn't come to the place it's to get it out of the
Mm-hmm.
place you don't want it.
It would be nice to get a second opinion of one of
Oh,
these
yeah.
experts that
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna talk to,
But
but that's what I understood too.
What they wrote about it in the GibCal proposal didn't, it was just to get it out of the,
well, it does say toward the street side
yeah,
to create a channel away from the house.
The
Yeah.
channel, yeah.
Toward
Yeah.
the street side. And Peter Webster's comment was that was near the water retention area.
I don't know anything about a water retention area.
I guess that's why we need to meet with them.
Yeah,
They need to explain exactly what they
True.
mean.
Well,
There is a catch basin on the other side of the street at the corner of the church driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And that connects with other catch basins downhill
Yeah.
to end up
And I
down
thought
at the
that
corner of
that's what
South
they were
Street.
planning to link.
And they were planning to do that from the other place, from up back.
Yeah,
And of course, if they were taking the water out of up back, it might not, our water problem wouldn't be
It
so
might not
significant
need a
anyway.
French drain, yeah.
it seems to me like it's a meeting that probably we all should be able to go to, and,
Make sure everybody knows what we're all talking
yes, the
about.
left hand and the right hand.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's right. I think we've got to do that. The other thing, that I don't know if you've addressed this yet, but the thing that you did tell me about yesterday was that Kristen refused to sign this thing because she wants us to have a project superintendent or whatever.
well, it's not one, I mean, she's not saying we have to, specifically that we have to have a project manager before this is in place.
Yeah,
But she definitely wants this Zoom meeting to happen so that we can iron out any conflicts or overlaps next Friday morning.
So she'll be
Friday
there.
sometime.
She'll be at the Zoom meeting?
Now, I thought that she had proposed HSH. Is that changed?
All right, now,
Can I just ask about the Zoom meeting? Because just to make sure.
I don't know what time it will be, Janet. I'm thinking it will
We're
be.
still talking about when we can.
Okay. all
I
right,
think it will
all
be
right.
10 o'clock, but I'll find out for sure,
Yeah, yeah.
because they haven't designated a time. And if it's the entire commission, I'll post it as a meeting.
Yeah,
But we won't be the Zoom host. It will be
Someone-
Austin Design.
Mhm.
right.
So I'll have to give you the link when that happens.
When it gets set up.
Yep.
They'll host, and so that's next, Friday?
Supposed to be next Friday.
Friday.
Next Friday.
Supposed to be. If it isn't gonna happen, I'll let you know
Okay,
that too.
okay.
There's another thing I want to tell you about, and that is, and I did talk to Barry about it on Wednesday, and that is I asked Carol De Oliveira, who is the project manager for the Stevens Family Foundation, I asked her to meet with me, and she did, and I took her to the Bullard House, and we went into the cellar, and we went everywhere. But we did go in the cellar, and she asked about the water main. And she said, has anyone brought that up as a possible
Well,
problem?
her question is, might our water line be leaking, and that's the cause of this water?
Yes, that's right, yep.
And that, my answer is, I don't think so, because it doesn't come in all the time. It only comes in these rare occasions.
Yeah.
If it were a leak in the water line, it would have been coming in,
Steadily.
yeah.
Well, at any rate, if there is an excavation, we would expose the water line.
And you know.
I mean, at least the part of it that's near the Bullard
Well,
House.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that has the other thing that's involved there is, that is a plastic pipe that's sleeved in a bigger plastic pipe. The idea being that at some point they could pull it out from one end to the other and put a new one in.
You replace it, yeah, easily.
And so if it were a leak in the water thing, it would be coming out the end of the bigger pipe,
Yeah.
and it's coming through the wall, so. Yeah, I mean, that's got that second pipe around it, so I would think that would keep it from being likely that that's the case. You've got two pipes
Yeah,
around
I would
the
say
other.
that it would be an improbable.
Improbable.
Not impossible,
Nothing's
but
impossible.
improbable.
No. But that is, that's a sleeved pipe, so therefore it there's
It's
a
got
second one
double-
around it.
double
Yeah, I
walls.
think it's kind of unlikely that's the case.
Okay. She also asked if, T.F. Moran, if the people that were sent to us at that time, Tom Lamb and then later
Yeah.
Jonathan Nadeau, she also asked if they were structural engineers.
Yeah,
And I looked them up, and they are. I mean, Tom Lamb's education is from UNH in civil engineering, but when you look at
The work he's done.
if you look at all the staff, they're not really resumes, they're just
yeah,
titles.
backgrounds.
They're both listed as structural engineers, and, because Tom Lamb is a principal, and
Yeah.
Jonathan is staff,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I don't know what all that means. She would be willing to help us, with questions. One of the things I wanted to ask her, and I didn't get to it, was how much would a project manager likely cost? but I can still ask her that.
Are you thinking of her as a possibility for a project manager? Is
No,
that-
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think,
She's not really likely to be available.
no,
Okay,
she's, her arrangement with the Stevens Family Foundation is pretty exclusive. But on her own, she could answer questions that we had, because she
She could assist us.
She
She'll be
like-
friendly.
she likes us. I mean, she's really a very, I don't know, sympathetic person, and she's very capable.
Well, when she was first working for them and we saw her around at 19 Carter and stuff, yeah, she's sharp lady to deal with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She's been working, not working with, but talking with us a lot because of the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And all these
yeah,
other things that
yeah.
we have to sort of think about.
Yeah.
And we've liked her very much.
Yeah.
And I mean, the question she asked is a wise question.
Yes,
A
yes.
perfectly reasonable and wise question.
Yes.
And something that we've never discussed as a possibility, and yet, obviously, if you've, it would, to me, I think she's right, that, what about this? Do you think it could be this?
Yeah.
But my only thing is that we never see water in there.
Yeah.
And when it does come in, it's always when we've had one of those, a cloudburst shower.
It does help to
20
have.
minutes of heavy rain or something, and then you're gonna have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it does help to have somebody like you who has lived with this
Oh, yeah.
for a long time, so
Yeah.
that you have a good
Yeah.
record
Yeah.
on what happens.
I'm not gonna write a lot about Carol right now. I don't know
No.
that we need to put that in a
No,
minute.
because it puts her in a,
Yeah.
Difficult.
But she's an
Yeah.
she's a useful advisor.
yeah, and I showed her the plan that's in the Bullard House, but I didn't have anything else to show her because she actually didn't meet with me on the day she said. She moved it up one, and I wasn't prepared to, with all my little satchels. But anyway, so I just had to make do as best I could within about 5 minutes. Anyway, so I think we can just let it rest until next Friday, if you know.
Well, if we could hold such a meeting and make some progress with it,
Yeah.
do you think we want to invite Kristen to that too?
Oh, she'll be there.
Okay, okay.
She'll be there because
Okay.
it's her
Concern.
concern that, I mean, she has to sign off on this stuff, so,
And she's concerned about having too many things happening at once in the same area that might not be working together.
Well, as I say, we have an awful lot of people who have ideas.
Yeah,
And some of them are mesh, and some of them are kind of
yeah.
yeah.
off on the side. So I think
Yeah.
it would be good to get.
You know, that now that you brought that up, that's been something that's been a concern of mine for a while now, is trying to do too many things all at once.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something we want to take seriously and really think about.
Well, I think that's where the project manager comes in. You can
Yes.
do them all at once as long as you make sure that you're not duplicating something.
Right,
Yeah.
that's
Or
what's
you're paying for
concerning
something
me.
twice. Or
Working
paying for
against
something,
each other.
Yeah, paying for
Yeah.
something that doesn't need to be done because someone else is doing something else.
Yeah, or you thought that you were responsible for doing something with the team here, and then you turned around and what you were working on got done by somebody else. I mean, it's that kind of thing that everybody's trying to do the right thing, but I think a little more structure to who does what and how and what, and
Yeah.
it would be very good.
And we had Dan doing it for a bit,
Yes, that was the
and
difference.
I'm not sure that I want to go that route again, but yeah, somebody needs that's well-versed and has
Yeah.
more experience than any of us have, can help to keep
Yeah.
things working in a good way. I've been in favor of the GibCal proposal after we talked about it at the last meeting, because I thought that it will solve the problem of that water coming in. And if we solve that problem, then what we need to do to the basement might change. Because the big elaborate thing that Tom Lamb came up with was based on the idea that water could be coming in anywhere. And-
Well, it does come in the front too, I mean, but that's because the foundation is
Yeah.
shaky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like Swiss
But
cheese.
I don't have any knowledge that it comes in any great amount anywhere,
Well, you.
other than this one place.
You see, yeah, that's right, but you do see,
You see
you see
daylight.
staining and you.
Well-
You just see what?
You see the flowage from the window areas in the front. You see,
Because there's
Oh.
holes. I mean, you
Because
can
there's
see
holes,
daylight. So
yeah.
if you get
Oh, yeah.
water,
Yeah.
snow or ice up against it in the wintertime when it starts
When
to
it's
melt,
melting,
it
it
just
might come in.
goes
Yeah.
right down.
But not in any great amount.
Well, I think rain is less likely because it's
Yeah.
kind of flowing away.
Yeah,
But the snow and the ice would kind of build up there.
yeah.
before you came, I noted that, and I guess I told you the other day anyway, that Gibkel has not replaced
Has
the
done the
trim,
thing on the roof yet.
and I haven't paid him either.
Yeah,
June, can I ask another question that is not going to be a very lengthy answer, but it steers in a slightly different direction, and that is if we really are feeling that we don't need to have all of our balls in the air at one time,
We only have one ball.
I would like to, well, okay.
We just have a lot of players.
A lot of players, but parts to it also,
Yeah.
you know. But, no, I forgot what I was going to say. Well,
if we have a lot of different things all at one time,
yeah.
we
Well,
we have
I think the
concern.
hardest thing for me is that we don't have control over them doing the work on the parking lot.
Yeah,
So, I think to your point, Barry, if we can fix things
That
on a
Independent,
lesser
yeah.
level,
Yeah.
they still need to do all of that. But who knows when it's gonna get done, and we can't keep putting things off, waiting for them, because it may be another 10 years.
this is exactly the thing. Because we were gonna do that parking lot years ago, and if it had been done when they did the other part of the thing as it once was planned,
We probably
we wouldn't be
dealing
where
with
we
it.
are now.
Yeah.
And so it's, and when they talk the 55,000, that was very encouraging. When they talk about 25 of it's gonna go into planning, oh my God.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Because this,
nothing.
you're gonna need another 75,000 at least to build the thing. And,
Yeah.
yeah, how soon is that gonna come along?
I think that's the hardest thing for me to deal with, and then you think, okay, then we really are on our own.
Yeah. Yeah, and while this is a lot of, $9,000, whatever, a lot of money, I think it's gonna take care of something that's been there and it's been a problem for 20 years already.
Well, and if it doesn't solve the problem, we'll know.
Yeah, and then
Pretty
we'll
soon.
know, whether it, yeah. Yeah,
Well,
and that means we can go on with the basement with the knowledge of either we've solved that problem or we
We
haven't.
haven't, yeah.
Yeah,
okay. So,
Because the original Tom Lamb design did not foresee fixing the parking lot.
no,
It
oh no,
had
it's
nothing to do with
totally in
that.
the
It
cellar.
just the cellar.
it's just the
And it
deep
was gonna
cellar.
be, new concrete walls all the way around
Yeah.
inside, and it was very elaborate.
Without ever fixing what we thought was the problem.
Yeah. And then when he brought in some people to bid on it, a couple of contractors, one of them said, well, really, we could just repoint the outside walls for that part of it and reduce the amount of this stuff you're doing. And when that got said, I thought to myself, okay, this isn't the only way we can do this. And if we solve our other problem, then maybe we can consider something more, less
Less
intense,
expensive,
yeah. And of course, the other job that we have wanted to do up front here was the outside entrance to the basement. And, that one right now is on hold. We got this one going. We'll do this one before we
There's
do that one now.
nothing happening with the walk-in.
No, there's nothing happening with that one right now.
And we need a project manager before we
That
can.
happens.
Yeah, and so how do you want to approach, getting a project manager? I
Well, see,
mean,
that's, I thought that's what she
no,
did, that
he deals with site
okay.
work. He doesn't, and we have a building. So we need someone who can do both. And he said right here when he came to the meeting that his expertise was not buildings. And
Yeah.
so
Okay.
So which person is this we're talking about?
Steve Tyler
Steve,
from,
yeah,
from
so-
HSH.
Yeah.
I think I missed that.
Well, that would make sense based on what HSH is supposed to be
Yeah,
doing.
they're
for the
civil,
project.
they're civil, and they do have the oversight for complete streets, but that's
Yeah.
different from this proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this proposal is in addition.
The skills are different,
Yeah.
and we need somebody that is significantly sympathetic to historic
Preservation.
restoration.
Kristen has said that, if we don't want to spend money on project management, that perhaps Paul McKelk would help us. But I really do not want a project manager who is not paid.
I think that it's a huge imposition. It's a lot of work, and I think it's to some extent it's a lot of
Yeah.
liability.
Yeah,
And it reduces
So you
our.
really do need to have someone who's paid and insured.
yeah.
I mean, the whole
We'll-
purpose of having the manager is that you ought to have somebody that's licensed.
Yes, yes.
The idea of having somebody do it that's not licensed, it might work on a practical level for us, but it's not gonna work on a broader level when we're talking about the whole project.
Yeah. So
I don't
how do
think.
you, I can get back to Carol and ask her what a likely ballpark figure is for this kind of oversight.
I think that's the start.
That's a start.
And,
Does she have,
d-
is there an
See, she-
association that kind of would, kind of like the lawyer referrals, is there a
Yeah.
project manager referral group?
I don't know. Steve Tyler might be able to refer us.
To give us somebody,
And we can ask him that next Friday.
we can start there.
Kristen also said that Steve Tyler, in his part of the game here, can act, he's the engineer, and he can also act as a project manager for that. That's common, that a COW or an OPM, I'm not sure what the O stands for, but that's another
Something project manager.
manager. Yeah, she says that that's common. That goes all the way back to Tom Lamb at TF Moran, when we had the discussion that we wouldn't need a project manager.
As long as the engineer would come and do site
Right,
visits.
and then we
occasionally.
fixed a price, which is probably no longer valid,
Yeah.
for him to come and visit.
To have additional
Yeah,
site visits, yeah.
So that's how
Yeah.
we,
Thought we'd get around it that way.
yeah, yeah.
How
But
many-
that was for one project.
That was only for one project.
Yeah.
How many fingers do we have in the pie right now? How many advisors or everybody from Karen all the way to, not Karen.
We don't have much.
Kristen, but if it feels sometimes like we're talking about a lot of people, and so for me, if I'm not sure what those people are actually doing.
Well, we have the
They're not
TF
doing
so
anything
go
except talking.
Go slowly and let me get it written down so that I will know,
We have the TF Moran plan,
yeah,
and then we have the Austin design plan.
No, let's not even do that. Moran's plan is for the basement in the
Yes.
Bullet House. Austin is involved with a parking lot which is a project
And
that
the
we're
ramp.
very interested in, but we're not controlling or doing.
It also has ramp design too.
Okay, hang on.
It has
Some of
ramp
it is
design,
ours,
yes,
is
it
ours,
does.
some
The ramp
some of it is the
design
town,
involves
and then we
us,
have the Gibb Cow.
Okay, wait a minute, go back. I wanna get it, I wanna write this down, because I find it confusing. And
I
if I'm gonna be
understand.
on this commission, you don't
All
want me
right,
to be
all right.
confused. All
All right,
right,
you've
so we
got-
got TF Moran plan, and that,
That's the
Gibb
basement.
That's the
Moran
basement.
is the cellar,
and we have the Austin plan.
which is for the
Which is
parking
the
lot
parking
and the
lot.
Yeah.
drainage and the ramp access,
And that's really working for
the town.
the town, so,
So this is the town that we work,
yeah.
and what does Austin do?
They're
No,
architects.
Austin
They're
is
the
the
architect.
town. Austin is working for the town.
Okay.
Austin designed the plan,
TF Moran's was working for us,
and they did the plan for the cellar.
yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, so TF Moran is working for us, yes. Austin is working for the town,
For the parking lot.
For
and
parking lot.
the ramp and that
And the
stuff.
drainage.
And the drainage.
parking lot, ramp, drainage.
They're just proposals.
And they're just-
And then we
yeah.
have the Gibb Cow.
These are just proposals, you're saying?
They're all just proposed.
And that's a proposal for
The Gibb Cow is
Now Gibb, yes.
specifically
the
for
water problem in the cellar.
drainage,
And
yeah.
that-
H2O in
That's
cellar.
an independent
ours.
project of ours.
That's ours.
However, we have to coordinate.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I'm just trying to keep her so
Because
that
she wants.
she's seeing which ones are under our control and which ones
Yeah,
aren't.
yeah, I just need to,
That-
you know,
That's the piece
well-
that I
But
want.
they're,
that.
but
Even
they're
Gibb
all
Cow
going to
isn't-
affect the work that we,
now,
the results
And that's
that we
all we've
want
got,
out of it.
that's all we've got in the air right now.
that's the only people that we're having to deal with right now are these
There's other
people.
subjects we've discussed for the future, but
Yeah.
those are the only ones that we've got in hand right now, dealing with right now.
We've
And-
got
and- and-
ideas
and-
for the bulkhead or the entrance, but we haven't
Okay, let's, well,
progressed anywhere with that.
we haven't, but it's in the works.
It's,
so-
well, it's a project we've discussed,
It's
but
in
Yeah.
our brain, but it isn't anything written down by
nobody
any
is currently in
proposal.
charge of it or employed or anything in it.
Not currently active or
Yeah.
whatever yet. Now, and
And
the
it's the
name
same with the
associated with
heating.
that one is?
No, there's no name.
There's no name because there's nobody working on it yet.
Okay.
Now, the other one you
It
want
seems like
there
when
is,
Lucy was first talking about it, though, she was working with somebody.
she was, but it hasn't gone anywhere.
And who was that? What name? I find it hard when the
She-
names are
All
falling
right,
around.
no. Paul McKelk was going to develop specs for that job for us.
All right,
But he has since said he doesn't have time to do it.
okay, that's exactly the kind
Yeah,
of thing I like
yeah.
to have in the back of my head.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
The other thing you should have on your list is HSH.
yes, oh yes, HSH.
And that's the Complete Streets project.
Complete Streets.
Yeah.
And so because of the proximity of the street and the
Yeah,
Austin and so forth, we've got both of them involved in that project.
Sidewalks and
So-
everything
Yeah.
else, yeah.
so Austin and HSH are
Our
both
town,
involved.
working for the town.
Working for
Doing
town.
other things. But it just, that one is, HSH is really only involved so that everything's cooperating. We won't have,
Good luck with that.
we won't have one build a new street and then the other one dig it up the next week.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Now,
we
is
have to
it-
put in a drain.
So HSH is only involved with the town project, basically?
Yeah,
Yeah, not these other ones, okay.
no, but admittedly, they are advising in a little bit perhaps in regard to the parking lot.
Yeah.
Because the parking lot's gonna run drainage
Yeah.
down there.
All right.
Yeah,
Whew, thank you.
I think that's all right now.
All right. It's enough. You can give me more later.
But, yeah.
Thank you very much for that time, because,
Yeah.
you know, you're probably going, oh my God, she didn't
Well,
understand all of this, but I didn't.
When you get
So-
home, you can look at that and say, okay, I got those four
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
That's that's what we've got for balls in the air
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, good. Those are the balls in there. And I think not having too many is allowed.
Oh, yeah.
Because we,
And we really only have full control over one.
yeah.
Yeah.
We only have control really right now over
The Gib Kill.
The Gib
The
Kill.
Give Kill. Yeah, it's all ours.
Well, TF Moran, but I think that
Well, that was
is
put
kind of
on
on the
hold,
back burner, yeah.
or it wasn't, it
Until we
wasn't followed
figure
up,
out, yeah.
because she wanted a comprehensive approach.
And I think as we've gone through some of these others, we realized that the drainage issue is the number one problem before
I know what
we
my
tackle
question
the
was.
foundation.
TF Moran's proposal was very elaborate and expensive.
But it was also done in a vacuum
And
almost.
a little bit, and what we decided when we got to the business of putting in the entrance, the other entrance to the basement, was that we really thought we'd do that, and then decide what we really would do with the rest of the basement. And this Gibkel thing is the other thing. If we got, we do this one, if that works fine, then we go on to the other one, and then we'll decide just what we actually will end up doing with the basement, because that we'll be in a better position to know what's required
Yep,
then,
absolutely, I can see that
than we do
point.
up to this point.
And I just remembered what my other thing was. You guys are spending a lot of time with me, and I really appreciate it. And that's the energy is the other thing that we have sort of put somewhere.
It's on the
If-
agenda.
do you
It's on the
think-
agenda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You want to wait till we get to that?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah.
let me write down what I was going to ask
Yeah.
then, because I'll forget.
Oh,
Yeah.
and before we go too far down the road, because Lucy mentioned this to me, Al still has not been paid.
No, Al has been paid. Didn't you
No,
tell
he
me
has
that?
not been paid.
The accounting told me they sent him a check.
Okay, because Lucy said he hasn't been paid, but June had said that a check had been cut, and I thought, well, if a check has been cut,
Where is it?
I can ask them again.
I was to say, does she need to cancel that one and reissue it? I don't know.
Let me suggest you ask Al.
No, thanks.
Huh?
He'll give me,
An earful.
Want me to
he'll
call
say
him?
he hasn't. He's told Lucy he hasn't been paid, so what's he gonna tell me?
It's through Lucy.
Yeah, I'd ask somebody else.
I
But
just
Lucy-
feel like you need to,
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's hard on Lucy too to be having a relative that she's trying to juggle and yeah.
And I don't mean to say I think she's telling us a lie or something
No,
at
of
all.
course
I
not.
just think
Of
that
course
there's
not.
room enough for some confusion at some point that maybe, or just that at the time that she was asked,
Yeah.
she hadn't gotten the latest
Yeah.
poop from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I just don't know the answer to that. We need to, if they say, if June says she's cut a check to him,
But it was
Yeah.
Amy.
Maybe
Amy
the
says they
timing,
cut a
maybe it
check
was
I'm
to
gonna
just
him.
the
ask
timing
them
was off.
again. I'm gonna ask them first, again.
Yeah,
And then if they tell me that he's been paid, I'm gonna say, well, do you have
Is it been cash?
is it a,
well, remember, when she approves a check being made,
then it has to happen.
it still has to go to the treasurer's office,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to get done, and it has to get sent. And the mail, I've learned, is really getting terrible. I mean, you can't expect anything to get somewhere in less than a week.
Yeah. Well, of course, right now with all the voting going on,
Oh, well, and even that
it
is
was
even
just
more, yes.
yeah.
But you can't expect things to get anywhere in a week even. It may take
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a lot longer.
Yeah.
And so I'm not at all sure that trying to get an answer out of that is, there's really some moving parts. And while they've said told them to do it last week, it doesn't mean that it's gotten to him except for another week beyond it, or whatever. So it's easily possible that,
It's still in the
yeah,
works.
yeah. Usually when they send the things to the treasurer, the stuff gets done in about a week, or,
Yeah.
their function and then their function and so forth. The thing gets done in the course of 4 or 5 days. but not and then if it goes in the mail,
Yeah.
and I had, if it goes in your box down here, that's fine. Dennis did a lot of giving us stuff in our boxes here, but this treasurer, it seems to be mailing stuff a lot more.
Okay, we can,
Here, I'm
we
gonna
just
give
have
you
to wait
this.
on this
This is the
GibCal
first
thing.
half of the meeting. Not the first half, but before you,
The beginnings.
yeah.
Now, Kristen has just one more thing. Kristen has asked for an updated, well, she called it, what did she call it? She called it a revised quote. Well, I don't, quote to me is all about money,
Yeah.
but maybe what she means is that this proposal needs to show the edits. And Lucy said she would do that, but she didn't, or she never gave it to me, and she didn't give it to me today. So I'm going to edit it myself, and I'm gonna send it to you guys, and you can tell me if the wording represents what we decided in October.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't, then I'll fix it.
Well, then it's gotta go back to GibCal and make sure they're happy with it.
Right,
You can't.
right. Well, it's just a letter
Yeah.
or a whatever.
Mhm.
But I don't even know if she talked to them about it. I
Well,
don't, because she never got back to me.
And there are concerns from my point of view if you don't have the stuff in writing
Yes, oh
as
yeah.
to what's gone to
Yeah,
them, to say, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
And Kristen is right that
Yes, we
she
just-
can't approve it, because we've made a modification, she can't approve it until that's in the thing.
right. So I'll have to do that. Does anyone have an extra pencil?
Here, you can use my pen.
I'm selling pencils over here, if anybody needs. No wonder my pocketbook is so heavy.
Okay, so we can deal with the energy now.
Yes, good. I wanted to ask about that.
So there's, we do have the information that I sent to you on the three options for a high velocity small duct system. And it looked to me as if the third one was the high-end one and the preferred one. Is that what you took from,
Yes.
yeah?
I
So,
can't remember what they are now, but I know that was,
There was three, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask one of my big picture questions first? And that is, what is our sense of when we want to work on this project? I mean, I'm always concerned that we get involved in so many things that we don't do any of them.
well, we have to
Terrible.
keep tracking this energy information. We can't just let it lay. And that's what I've done. You scheduled a meeting with Tim. We were all there. We have his recommendation. We have the printout that outlines these three high velocity options.
When do you
And-
think is a good time for us to start working on this? Aside, I mean, I think that doing the research on it is great.
That's all we're
but
doing.
we're still
And-
researching. We're
So
still
that's,
researching.
okay, I was concerned that maybe we were doing this in preparation for starting to work on the furnace or something, and I said, gosh, we've got our hands pretty full here, and maybe we should
No.
prepare for it,
No.
but it begins later, is that, do you
That's
feel
why
that
we're
way?
talking about it
That's-
now,
Yeah,
Okay, good, so the beginning later is part of the plan,
but we're not in a position to say, okay, we're gonna buy this now.
right,
But
right.
we're continuing to work on,
To
we're coming closer,
Yeah,
at least I think
yeah.
we're coming closer.
And the researching is
Yeah.
very important.
It's
so.
taken a year for us to get to this point, so. You know, these things aren't
Yeah.
fast.
But I think that's possibly a good sign,
Well,
not a bad
before
sign.
that, before that, we weren't gonna do away with the oil rig. That was,
Right.
we weren't even thinking in terms of
Right.
that whole business. But when we had to pull it out because of the solid job, then it became,
Why
do
do
we wanna put it back in and so
Yeah.
forth and so on? And maybe the best thing to do is start working on a
Particularly when
longer-term
the
solution.
state is very reticent to support new fossil fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
They
And we
don't
are, I
want you to go
think, to
that
a certain
route.
degree too,
Yeah.
Good, that's good, I was hoping that was what you guys were feeling, that keep the research going, make sure we're making a good choice. But,
The other thing that interests me about it is that we can probably, some of the places where are very hard to get to do things, we can probably simply put these new conduits right in the old pipes.
Chaseways, yeah.
And secondly, if we need to put a new line into another part of the house, these are smaller. They're gonna be much easier than the old hot air ducts that you gotta find a place to put.
Yeah,
These you can
exactly.
zip through in a much smaller space. And,
I think utilizing what's already there is going to be far cheaper too.
I don't think we're gonna be able to, ultimately, I don't think we're gonna use much of what's there. Just based on the way that my understanding of this thing might be, but I don't still know enough about it.
the other thing I'm feeling is that there's a lot of money out there for this, a project like this, I
Might
think.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and CMRPC, the green, what do they call it, green something?
Yeah,
There apparently is quite a bit of money available, and so,
Can it be used by a town project or is it all for residential?
I think they let us fit, what did they let us fit under this time? They
Well, but,
considered it a
you know,
house.
We're talking about Mass Save, and Janet's talking about the National Grid.
Yeah, and I'm
Solutions
just
team.
saying,
Yeah,
is it,
yeah.
is all that money usable for the town projects or is it set up for residential?
You mean CMRPC money?
Yeah.
I don't think we
Yeah.
know that.
We don't know that.
I think we were called a residential project because it's a house. I don't know, but that was how we sort of
that. how
snuck
we did-
into, what do you call the other thing, organization?
Mass Save and
Mass
the, and
Save,
the,
yeah.
and the electric company.
They-
The fact that it's listed on the electric company's thing as a residential
Yeah,
account,
yeah.
and that's iffy.
Well, we got it
but
from the
At the
guy.
same time, that was all right for that.
Yeah,
My other question, though, would be, and this goes back to Tim and the Energy Committee people, is there some money out there for this kind of a project? Because they've gotten a lot of grant money for this building and other things, doing things to the systems. And I'm just wondering whether that is a possibility.
Yeah.
And we can settle our own ideas of what we want to do.
and but then it also brings it back to my question that I ask all the time. It is this the right time for us to take on this project too? And if it is, it is. But because there'll be quite a bit of research.
What we need to do is to know where the funding would come from.
Yeah.
And right now, what we need to know more about are these three options: the Unico system, the Space Pack, and the Blue Duct.
Unico space.
It's in your printout,
I
Jean.
know, but this is how I know what I want to focus on.
It looked to me as if the Blue Duct system was preferable, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I think Tim also, when he visited with us, had Space Pack information.
He did.
Yeah.
Because that's what I got in my notes.
Yeah.
So would you say that right now, what we should be putting our time into is just getting to know these?
No, I'm
Well, or
not.
what do you think is the next step for us with this?
Well,
And do we do it right now, or are we?
Well, Tim encouraged us to reach out to
It's
Kristen
DHV.
so that we could be referred to the National Grid solutions,
Yeah.
community solutions team.
Okay.
And, well, let's just say we don't know.
I think we don't know. I really am thinking in terms of what's up at the top, but the first one,
Quiet Jets,
which is you're using ducts, but they're smaller and so forth. And all of these things essentially eliminate your old ductwork.
yeah.
And the blue duct thing sounds like it's something that's goes around the edges of the floor or something or other. It's not clear to me at all how it works. It's installed on the floors.
As opposed to units on the wall.
Yeah. Well,
Well, no, as opposed to ducts that would run under the floors and through the walls like ductwork usually does.
we did get a reply from, Kristen did refer us to the National Grid team, right? And I did follow it up. And I'll just read this short thing that was sent to me, and then I routed it to you. Thank you for this connection, and she's talking to Kristen. And it's great to make your acquaintance, June, because I'm the one that asked the question. I'm adding my teammate, Sean McGloin, to this email, who is the energy efficiency specialist for Berlin. So his name, Janet, is Sean McGloin. We would be happy to help advise you on this project and stay involved as you move forward. And she asked for the total square footage of the building and what kind of heating we had in place already. And I can't find evidence that I got back to her, so I'll get back to her again.
What is that paper
What's the
there,
name of the
Joe?
energy specialist of Berlin?
Is that one that we have already?
No.
Can you make me a copy?
Yeah,
I remember
can.
seeing this
Okay.
a while back.
So, then she goes on to say, where this appears to be a smaller building than our project expediters typically work with, I talked with our trade partners team to get a list of local installers to recommend to you. And she recommends to talk to us. This isn't to do, this isn't another proposal to do work. This is someone who will talk to us,
Yeah.
okay? His name is Joe Atkinson. He's Energy Efficiency Services in Leominster. And we have his contact information. And they are bidding on the work at Berlin Memorial. So they're already involved some with the town, okay?
Well, yeah, the school department, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's listed some others. JV mechanical contractors, if we wanted to talk to multiple people, and then there's another one, Morris Mechanical. I think that's it. And our point person with this community solutions team with National Grid is Amanda Formica. She's with National Grid, and she helps communities resolve their problems. So this is a town, I don't think there would be any problem that we're a town-owned building, because she's dealing with the town.
Yeah,
Because
they know that we're.
yeah, this Joe Atkinson. So the next thing we would need to do, if you want to do anything at all, is to ask to meet with the Joe Atkinson, or to Zoom with him, or whatever, and to talk with him. I would think he would need to see the building, or someone from his company would need to see the
Yeah.
building, and to ask them about these three options. And if they see anything that would prohibit one over
Yeah.
the other.
Or if they have a recommendation
Right.
for our building.
So, that's as far as we've gotten And all of you got this. Because I can see on the heading that it went to everybody.
Yeah, I thought I could remember reading it, but I
So
need
you
to
do
go back
have
and
it,
read it
Janet.
again.
Yeah, how
The
long
date,
ago?
Lot.
October 17th.
Okay.
There's a lot in it, and as you just
I
went through
think
it,
I
there's a lot
remember.
of, too much to put in minutes.
Well,
Attach it.
yeah, we've had a response from the National Grid Community Solutions Team person. And she has given us some installers to talk to so that we can, that's it.
And she gave us a coordinator.
She,
I thought in the beginning you said that,
The town coordinator, energy specialist for Berlin.
Sean McGloin,
Was
Was
this
that
the,
John?
Sean, S-E-A-N,
S-E-A-N,
Sean McGloin,
M-C,
G-L-O-I-N, and he's a National Grid person.
was this, when did we receive that thing?
October 17.
I wonder if that was when I was, not here for that meeting.
There was no meeting, Janet.
there was an
Oh.
email.
There was no
Oh,
meeting.
oh, it was
it
an
was
email, okay. I'll,
It was an email. And what's the date on the email when you sent it to us, maybe? Well, when it came,
October 17th.
October 17th.
October 16 is when we got the message. I forwarded it to you the next day on October 17th.
hmm.
But you wouldn't, you will only see the forward, you won't see the,
Yeah.
so it's the 17th that you wanna
Yeah.
look for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I probably got it at home.
So as a group, we need to decide if you wanna do anything. I mean, I can just,
so basically, she said, talk to Joe Atkinson, see if we can get somebody to come look at it.
do you wanna do
Let's
that?
talk about it.
Do you want, me to invite him to the Board House?
Yeah.
Or some minion from his company?
Yeah,
Okay.
whenever they can come, whoever, we'll open it up and whoever
I
can
said
come can
preferably
come. and-
before the weather gets really cold.
Yeah, because it's gonna be
It's
You
not-
know what?
super cold in there after.
I forgot to tell Fred that we didn't need oil yesterday.
Oh. Well, we'll be talking to him again soon,
Yes, right.
because we've got,
Yeah, that's
we'll
another.
talk about that
yeah,
later.
Yeah. Okay, so call,
I'd say arrange a meeting with Joe Atkinson
all right. And,
and explain that we're trying to work on a plan for
They
redoing our system,
come up with
likely with
solutions.
SDHV.
and ask him his
And-
opinion once he sees the house on these three
Yeah,
options.
yeah.
That we'd like to avoid the
Talk about
fossil
what kind of a
fuels
system would work for us.
solution.
Okay. All right, so you have everything I have.
All right, good.
Yep.
I have moved into a new binder, and
Yeah.
I think that's what's causing my problem.
All
I'm
right.
gonna look in this one now.
And I'll put this here.
What did I
Okay,
see? I've seen something else lately, someplace. I still haven't talked to Scott
yeah, but they,
Hawkins, but I need to talk to him about this because I need to talk about other things too.
I see.
I feel like he hasn't given us much coordination for what's come down the hoop to us from the select board.
Well, he wasn't at the meeting that we attended.
Yeah, for example, and that, why? Is he trying to avoid having to live with it? I don't know. But it's like, wait a minute, people. Liaison should be helping us to know what's coming up.
All right, so let me just summarize what we've said about the Bullard House. The siding repair hasn't been done, the bill hasn't been paid, okay? We-
However, Lucy did say that it was fine with them, yes, they take care of it.
Right,
So I'm hoping it'll happen, and maybe if they think we're gonna do something else, they're gonna do it when they come to do the other thing. But if they wanna get paid, they need to do it sooner.
yeah. Well, if it rains, we'll get water. I mean, what good is that?
Oh,
You think it'll be minuscule?
I think, you mean in regard to the roof thing and that's a nothing issue. It's, the clapboards are not
Tucked under.
completely covered on the top from the finished board that comes down here. I don't think it's, I almost don't think it's worth worrying about, but since the building inspector said it, yes, we will, and yes, we'll do it. But it's not something that's, like an open hole or something.
Well,
If-
it
if
bothers me because we're in the process of considering them for other work. If you're not,
Careful.
you know, firm, I mean, you don't want to be a jerk, but they
We
need
want
to
them to
fix
follow
it.
through on it.
They need to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's that. We're going to meet by Zoom, if you can, next Friday, I think in the morning, but I'm not positive, to review any impact this proposal has on the comprehensive approach and any overlapping with the other two companies, the HSH and the Austin. And then we will ask Steve Tyler perhaps if he has any any people he could refer us to for project manager. We want to get more information about the high velocity systems from Joe Atkinson.
Yeah.
He is the person who's I guess the point person who's working on whatever happens to Berlin Memorial in this regard. And I
He
think
is? Okay.
yes,
All right.
he is. Yes. You want the name of the company?
No.
No. So I think there's one other little thing that I didn't put on here, and I think I sent you a message, this is quite a while back now, that Marty and I vacuumed up what water we
Yes.
could until the vacuum started to suck up the plastic.
plastic,
This
yeah.
is in the bathroom area at the Bullard House. And we could see that there was water underneath the plastic. And I don't know what to do about that.
Well, I need to get in there and look at it. I was in there and I put the board down on the floor again because we can't leave that open. But I need to get in and look for what you talked about.
Well-
And so I know what that's all
Yeah, the
about.
source of the water may be from a place that's where the plastic became, was
it's open.
untethered to
Yeah.
the back wall, the wall that faces the town hall, and maybe water came in that way. I don't know, but once you look at it, then what? I mean, there's water under there, right?
I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe it's soaked away by now. I don't know.
Well, could-
We'll look and we'll see. And if I learn something, I'll let you know.
Do you
I
want-
didn't notice any water on top of the plastic when I was there, but I didn't really look either.
Well, there should have been so little that
Yeah,
should have dried
That
up.
could have dried up by now.
But we should, if we don't think the water underneath has to be addressed, then we should at least tether the plastic on the wall somehow, staple it or something.
We'll look at it. I mean, yes, but
Okay.
we'll look at it. I don't know. I just don't know without looking. And I don't know that I'll know when I look, but at least I'll have that information, some more information, I hope.
All right, okay, that's it for the Bullard House then. Now, we have to on December 9th, there's a special town meeting. And the Red Fire Station and the rescue building will be, there'll be an article to demolish those. So I have an email from Kristen that asks us to remove our items from the Red Fire Station. And she doesn't say when,
Yeah.
but she just says, start doing it.
And there's a lot of big stuff in there, as I
Well,
recall.
there were some things that we had decided needed to depart from the collection. Do we start with them?
Where do you put
Well,
them, though?
just to
talking.
back up a little bit, I think I'll let Barry and I went there yesterday. So Barry, what do you want to say about it?
We took 5, 6 boxes of stuff at least out of it. Some of it was Old Town Report records that I've held on to for a long time, and I'm throwing them out. I mean, it was the intermediate stuff that you made the book out of, and so I've
Oh,
just
yeah.
thrown them out. I'd kept them all, and I finally cleaned them out, and we took the empty boxes up to reuse, and we did, there were 2 or 3 other boxes of collection material that I processed some of it and took care of it yesterday, and I'll work on some more sometime. We moved a couple of other items that are going there. I took some stuff out that really belongs to the church, so I'll deal with that with the church. And we also kind of, looked at everything again, so that we're thinking about things. There's some telephone-related equipment that Bobby Wheeler gave us that his grandfather had, Earl had, that was left at the telephone house years ago. And most of it we need to get rid of. There might be a couple of things we'd keep, but I've got to talk to Bobby and see what he wants to do, because if he wants it back or whatever else, most of it we need to get rid of in one way or another. If he doesn't want it and so forth and whatever, then we'll see about chunking it. I've got all my old light fixtures. I've got to think about that stuff. It probably is impractical to keep any such amount as I have, but I can reduce it to many fewer samples, but that'll help. We took the rock collection out, or some of it at least, and.
I have all the rocks at my house, all the rocks. So if,
Well, that may be helpful in keep holding the house down if there's a hurricane.
yeah, and the ones that I took yesterday are minerals mostly, and are very fancy examples of coral.
Yeah,
And the other ones from the Bullard House, all the other rocks were from the Bullard House in the annex room.
Yeah, yeah.
They were all over they were on the front wall there.
Yeah.
And they're in smaller boxes because they're so heavy.
Yeah.
Within 2 bins. And the ones that I took yesterday, it was a much smaller collection, and those are inside my house actually right now. So I think it would be great if we could find a geologist or somebody who really
Would love
understood.
them, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we should give them away, but there's no provenance on most of them. We think they're from Erastus Wheeler, who was a naturalist.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's the big thing, is that we want to keep at least some portion of them as a record of some of his various efforts.
I've researched him some, just on the internet, and I have some information about him and letters that he wrote.
Yeah,
And we have a loon. We have a
Yeah, we have the
stuffed loon that's in Village Power.
Mm-hmm.
that we think must have been his work, or he acquired it somehow. I had Maria, what's her last name? Maria Roots. I can't remember Maria's last name, but she worked for the Peabody
Oh,
Museum
yes.
at Harvard.
Yeah,
And she's a member of the society, or has been.
yeah.
And she inspected the loon for us. And she didn't think that he was too bad, actually. The preservation was okay, but she did say that it looked like arsenic had been used in the preservation, so we wouldn't want to put our hands all over it or allow children to
touch it.
touch it. So,
It would need to be handled carefully and sealed up so that it wouldn't spread.
yeah,
So like in a display case type thing?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a big,
she also said
Mm.
she thought the loon wasn't in bad condition, but she didn't have a lot to say about the,
rest of it,
what do you call it? The
the setting,
the setting, yeah,
Yeah.
the setting. She didn't think that was anything exceptional. So anyway, and then I have a couple of other little things.
well, we were
to go
working
through.
through stuff,
Yeah.
and we removed some things, and some of it, got a big bag to take to the dump,
Mhm.
or otherwise dispose of that way. We'll keep working on it. We've also got a couple of boxes of books there.
Oh,
One of them is the agricultural
Yeah.
annual reports of the Agricultural Department of Massachusetts. Each one is a bound volume like this, one for each year for a long time. And we've got a box of those that came out of the town hall attic. And maybe I could just take them and put them back in the town hall attic and ignore that they ever weren't there.
I did write to Walter, and he said, and he appreciated being asked, but he
Yeah.
cannot acquire anything new.
His wife will probably kill him.
And Marty enhanced that photo, and I sent him that for $256.
Yeah.
Yeah. Central
The others are a practical encyclopedia, which Jane gave us that was her grandmother's. And, it's 6 volumes of old encyclopedias.
Actually, old encyclopedias are generally fairly worthless.
They
Yeah.
are worth almost nothing. And
It's like old
They
dictionaries.
pay you to
Yeah.
take them.
They've got no use.
Yeah.
old dictionaries I have a different view of, because dictionaries can be used even if they're old. They may not have the latest words in them.
They don't have the
They're
latest words.
usable, but the encyclopedias, not so much. And so those are something that I think when Jane gave them to us, it was an indication that she didn't want them anyway. I'll probably speak to her before we dispose of them, but I think we're probably gonna have to dispose of that stuff. But we've had those boxes set aside to deal with further when we've talked about it. And of course, then we have the library desk. And I really don't think we wanna keep it. I don't know what, if any, action somebody wants to take in regard to it, but it's all in pieces. It's been cut apart into pieces, and somebody would have to decide. I don't, from my point of view, I think we should jettison it. If it goes to the dump, it goes to the dump. I don't.
Barry, if you're saying that, I think,
Well,
because
we-
you're very careful about not getting rid of
We
stuff
talked it
that's.
over, a year ago,
Yeah.
and said, it doesn't really have any,
Mhm.
I don't see practical use for it.
I said,
And that being the case, it's too big to keep as an artifact.
you can't put it in the boathouse as a display.
Well-
How,
Those little rooms would be overwhelmed.
Lucy was interested in it, so
Lucy
perhaps.
was interested
Oh.
in
So
it.
perhaps she'll go and have a look at it
yeah,
and take it away.
that would be great.
And I would
And-
also discuss it with Marcia, because Marcia's the one that was on the trustees at the time, and she got it moved to the bullet house when
Yeah.
they took it out.
So she should be asked first.
And so that's, I want to include her in a discussion of that. But at one time, I hoped we might use it in the town hall. I hoped we might use it in the entrance room at the Bullet House. It's just too big. And it's
It's
not.
massive.
And it's practical use. It's designed for libraries in the days of cards in the back of books and all those kinds of things. And it just isn't very useful in
It's
today's
clumsy,
world.
it's clumsy.
It seems that it's too bad that there isn't something among the different museums, and maybe there is, where you can just post it. We got the, and then people could say, yeah, I like that, we'll
My
take
answer
it."
is, it would have been lovely to put at the front desk at 19 Carter.
Yeah,
But the one they've got there is one that came out of Mechanics Hall that they were getting rid of, and
Yeah. it's a better size
Bob
probably.
Blair
Grabbed it up.
grabbed it up and took it to 19 Carter, and it's bluntly more interesting in terms of as a piece of furniture than the library desk, though it doesn't have the Berlin connection that the library desk would.
But
I mean, certainly they're not ready to junk what they've got to put something else in.
But you don't know of any
There
thing like
probably
that
is.
where you can say,
No,
we.
A
no,
salvage.
there's nothing that I know
Not
of
that
for
you would give it to them,
clearinghouse
but that
for
we post it, and if
Yeah.
somebody saw something that their museum might be able to use. Because
Yeah.
we don't really connect very much with other museums in our area. And
Well, that could
so,
be.
I was just thinking, I wonder why we don't have something like that, where they can just post it and, for a certain amount of time, and if somebody likes it, and you would,
So
you
it
would.
have to
The
have.
other thing is it's severely plain. It's
Yeah.
dark finished wood, and it was kind of nice that way,
Yeah.
but it's severely plain. There's not paneling, there's not joiner work, it's just
Well,
very
you
plain.
think about it, at the time that it was purchased, I don't suspect the town had a lot of money.
Well, it also was the style of the 20s and 30s, that everything was simple and plain, and
Yeah, but I also,
I mean,
I don't.
that's the period when they put the mirrors in your front room in your house,
Yeah,
And,
There just wasn't a lot of money in the town at that time for them to,
In the 20s?
in the 30s.
30s.
Oh, the 30s,
It was
no.
a couple of years after. I don't think it was about money. I think it was just, that was the style that you bought stuff. That's what it was. And so it's very
Yeah.
plain, and,
It's boring.
yeah.
Well,
And
it's
it's also been
inappropriate.
cut apart, and
Yeah, it's
Massacre.
inappropriate.
All
a
right,
little
so
bit.
have we made a decision then?
Well,
but
we.
that needs to- that
I-
needs
Talk to
Hey,
Marcia.
wait, little birdie.
We talked to Marcia, we talked to, who else was it?
Well, we're not gonna keep it, I guess that's our decision.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're not
yeah,
gonna keep it.
Yeah,
And Marcia could be asked in case she wants
And so
to
she
reclaim it.
Has
Or a
something
part
else
of
that
it.
way, Yeah.
And Lucy could, if she
And then
has an interest.
if not, then if Lucy can have a look at it. I don't know if she's looked at it before. Did she look at it before?
I thought she was with us last year when,
Marcia?
No, oh, Lucy.
Oh, Lucy, yes, Lucy was.
Lucy
Alright.
was there at the
Yeah,
at
Lucy
the
can
fire
look if she
station. when
wants
we
to.
looked at it.
I
yeah, she does.
I also, there's architectural stuff that came from the parsonage that got given to us later, and I'm gonna quietly put that back in the parsonage barn, not back, but in the parsonage barn, with some other things that were saved from the house when they were remodeled. And there's other stuff in the barn cellar at the parsonage,
which
and I
barn
can put
is
them
this?
back there. What?
Which barn is this?
Parsonage.
At the parsonage.
Oh, the parsonage, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the old woodwork from the house they saved in the barn, and I will put these items in there with that, so that's back in the church's bailiwick, and it'll be off our platter as far as the collection is concerned.
That's good to know.
It's the side lights from the front door, and
Oh.
each little window is three
Wow.
narrow panes
Wow.
at each level, it really was kind of nice.
Why did they take it out?
Because they had to put in a wider door to meet because of the remodeling they were doing, they had to meet the modern building code requirements. And in order to fit a wider door in the space, they put in a new unit that has an insulated door, but it also has a single side light because they needed the space to make the wider door to meet the code. And then they had to put 2 wider doors in for handicapped access, for wheelchairs and such. And the second one they put on the porch by the kitchen, which has a long stairway to get up to it. Utterly stupid, but that's where they put it. And that's where Larry decided it had to go, and it's like, but it's stupid. The way that house should get access is by putting a door on the other side of the house and getting permission from the neighbors to have a parking space there. Because that's the thing that's at the level of the house. All of our side, the other side is all difficult to get up there. And, but that's why it got taken out.
Okay. So do you want to say anything further about the plan to remove?
My answer is I want to try to go there a couple of times a week and take more stuff each time and work our way through what we've got and figure out where to put
where are
it.
you putting stuff that you want to save, or this is just to get rid of stuff you don't want to save? Is that-
Well, we got to do both.
Yeah.
We've got to do
and
both.
where are we storing it?
That's the things that we want to keep, that's the problem. There are things there that we can squeeze into the curatorial building, but not of any great size. We got the 2 bobsleds I really want to keep.
Yeah, those are
And there are other things there that I really want to keep, and we've got to figure out where we could put them.
There was that diorama too. Is that?
Yeah, that's another one that
Yeah,
we
those
gotta
were
think
nice.
about, decide. There was talk about taking Sylvia's thing apart and saving the buildings and pictures of it so you could reassemble it if you
Is it
want.
as it storing it as is
Yeah, it's not
problematic because it
practical.
takes a lot of space.
Well, it's a lot of space, but it also, it's got a nice plexiglass box to go over it, which is a nice thing to have just for a display that's very different than anything else we have. We got a couple of those. So we're gonna have to figure out what we wanna do with that stuff.
You'd
Did
have
they
more,
give
if
us
you
a-
do take it apart, you'd have a lot more flexibility to use the components.
You could use the components
You'd still
perhaps in other
you'd
ways.
still have, you could still document the thing as it is.
The base surface that the buildings are on is styrofoam and
It's
really
nothing.
not anything
It's
special.
nothing.
Not really special at all.
I think
So
if you took a
it could be
picture of it.
reassembled. Oh, yeah, we can get pictures and that's not essential to keep.
No.
The buildings, I think, are for a variety of reasons. And, but that, at the same time, then what you still got those to store. But those could go in a couple of boxes pretty well. I think that, and again, my thought is go in a couple of times a week for this whole month and see where we can get to.
Do you want
deal with
to,
some stuff
to
each
make a
time.
meeting, or do you want to?
No, I think we need to just go work.
Everybody
And
everybody has the
Do
key.
you, do you want help when you go in?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is we've got some things that we'll need the truck for. So that would, that's definitely one of the things we'll need to do. I
What was
wonder,
left? Oh. What was left of space in the trailer behind my house?
well, yeah, I'm wondering whether the bobsleds might be able to go in that
Yeah.
container that we put stuff in the
Yeah,
last
I mean, I
time.
think there's room.
I think that's a big container. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was so big.
And you could even, I mean, if it came down to having to build a little thing that the bobsleds could be tiered in. Well,
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
all I'm
because they
saying
can
is
sit
that
on top of each other.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, they are now, I think.
Yeah.
One sits on top of the
I
other.
don't think that we have any plans for that right now. And, you know, Tim is very aware that this could go on for several years because,
Oh, well,
but
yeah.
we don't want to drag it out because we
No.
can use that space ourselves, you know.
Oh,
but,
of course.
But, I mean, I think, and we were rushing it through it, so, you know, we may not have
Oh, yeah.
made it as tight storage as it could. I don't know how
Well,
the
see whether
things
a
will
few of
fare.
those big things might be able to go in that
Yeah.
in that container.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean,
I-
those things aren't gonna be hurt by being cold.
Well, that's what I
either.
was wondering. I don't, so everything may not fare too
Those
well,
aren't
but
gonna
it's,
be getting,
it's worth a
be
try.
bothered by getting cold.
There's another issue, and that is the preservation of the engine on the bottom floor.
Oh, the fire truck, yes, and that's, I've gotta talk to some people. We gotta see what, now Fred opened up for us.
Yeah,
He got there, he went
His
through a bunch of
keys.
keys, he couldn't find a key that would open the door. He went and tried the other door, couldn't find a key that opened the door, took out his knife and opened the door. So he broke in to let us in.
That's
can we
great.
get in there now, as
Huh?
long as we tell him?
Well,
By
we might.
using- by
We
using-
might. We will talk to him when we want to, you know, each time, yeah. That's all. And of course, once you're inside, it's no issue because you've got the overhead doors. You can open the overhead doors in the front of the building and
Press the
move stuff.
button. Yeah.
So we'll keep working on this.
How much
There
time,
are other
by the
things
way?
that are gonna be a lot harder, because I've got the door collection and stuff, and
Hmm.
I haven't started to deal with that. There are some things in that can go, but most of that are things I'd like to keep. So we've got a long way to go to finish.
There's a lot to do.
When-
But we
can I ask a
we
question?
did start, and we're gonna keep working at it, and try, there are some things that can go to the curatorial building. I'm thinking in terms of, you know, we've got that space over the stairs, and the hole for the stairs is bigger than it needs to be. And we actually could either have a shelf or something constructed there, or fix up something so you could hang stuff in that space somehow. We could, you know, some odd pieces of furniture and stuff could even go a place like that. I don't know how much of the stuff we've got in the fire station that could be dealt with that way, but there is some space there that we currently can't use that we might be able to develop a way to use.
I have a question. Is there a deadline for clearing out? Like, we had a deadline before.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there a
Not
deadline
that we
now?
know of
She
yet.
didn't really give us a deadline, but presumably on December 9th, that will pass.
If those things pass on December 9th, they plan to apply for building permits to demolish those buildings right after that.
And those
So
buildings?
my answer is the 9th.
Yeah, right.
We need to be pretty well done by then, or certainly
Well,
within
they have
a
pretty good-
week
And when you say
after that.
buildings, I know we're doing the fire station. What's
The
the other?
rescue building, the white one.
Oh, the
right
white
next-
one with it, okay.
Those two.
They're talking about making a driveway for the fire trucks to get out.
Access to West Street.
Which is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
I think they've got a Superfund site on their hands.
Oh.
Well, that's the other question is, okay, you can tear these buildings down, but they've had, you know, vehicles sitting on concrete and
Oil.
dirt.
Gas.
And what do they have for pollution issues there?
Well, wasn't one of those buildings Hartshorn's, where they put the, what I wanna say, where they put the medicines together?
No, that building went long ago.
Oh, okay, cause I thought.
That was the building that was on the site where the Red Fire
Before
Station
they
is, yeah.
put it.
Yeah, that was
So I
the
would
old,
think that they
the
might
shoe
have
shop
been-
was the original laboratory building for the medicine.
I think the shoe shop and the laboratory
Yeah.
probably had some pretty nasty chemicals too.
Oh,
I'm
there
sure
could have been
the
other
shoe
things
shop
there.
is horrible.
Oh, tannery stuff, leather stuff.
Horrible stuff.
That
Yeah.
was before
That was
people
long
worried
before.
about it, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that site was filled. That old building used to sit there, and the land from the road went down, like it does next to the White Fire Station on
Yeah.
the other side. And when they built the new place, they filled it all in to be flat up at the level of the road. So that was extensively filled after that, the other stuff was taken out of there. So who knows what's in there at all.
Another question I had was, will we be thinking of leaving some wiggle room in some of, I was thinking of that trailer out behind our house. Do we want to pack everything completely full and then not have any place to put things? Or then will we just remove things we don't like as much and put new things in? I don't know if that.
Well, yes,
That's a different-
that's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to put as little there as possible, but when I get to the door
Yeah.
collection, I really might need to put that there. And I'm gonna have to make some choices on that too, as to how much of it we keep.
Yeah, the door, talk about the doors for just a minute. The doors are all of pretty high value?
Well, they're-
Could you sort through them and,
They're doors of different, various, things that have come from various buildings in the town that represent style periods of architecture. That's the big thing about it, is they're style periods of
but
architecture.
there aren't many duplicates then, or could there be duplicates and you could choose some?
There are some duplicates in
Yeah.
regard to the stuff that came from Cora Mays.
Yeah,
Most of the rest of it not. I've got the front door from the Coldwell House, I've got the front door from the Lyman School, which are the same period. They're about 5 years apart in age, and they're the same period. But I think that they're both really good Greek Revival doors. I don't think I want to let them go. But there's Cora May's house, I've got a lot of stuff out of, and I've probably just got to trim that down. Some of that also is wainscot and stuff that I hope to use in the Bullet House at some point. So, but I'm gonna work on it, and we'll see where we
yeah,
are.
see what you've got.
So,
And I would rather not fill a container chock-a-block full, so
Yeah, that's hard to get in and out of.
there's
if
still
you
some
get it
wiggle
too
room
full.
there,
Yeah.
you know?
well, you want an aisle, right?
Yeah.
If possible.
So you can get in, yeah.
Are you, I will help Barry, for sure.
Anybody can come help, that's good.
But-
Yeah, just tell
but
us
if
when,
we
though.
But I have to post it.
If we have more than two of us there.
Yeah, so are you two interested in, what mornings are good for you? Is it Tuesday and Thursday?
I don't know, I guess so.
I mean,
Wednesday's the only day that I'm tied up every week.
Yeah.
In the daytime. And again, you wanna go for an hour or two, you don't wanna spend more time than
No,
that.
I was
because
really
it just-
tired yesterday,
It turns
yeah.
Well, you
into
get-
too onerous.
yeah.
also, I started to cough too,
Mhm.
so
Well,
that,
Yeah.
that is not good for you.
No, it's not good for her.
but
The
an
air
hour and a
in there
half
isn't
was,
great.
I was there for an hour and a half.
On one
That
warm
was
day,
okay.
we could open windows, but
Yeah,
we
well,
didn't think to do that yesterday, we could have done it yesterday.
we didn't have any light either.
Are you wearing
Yeah, the light, I
masks?
couldn't get the lights to work in that room, I don't know why, it usually would, and,
You could wear a mask.
Yeah, bring, I think I have some that I haven't used yet.
well, they
But-
have work to be done on that, if it's gonna be kept. I wanna talk about those buildings. The White Building is the first fire station, it's the first, it was built for highway and fire in 1895.
This is in your, well, there's a short summary in your thing that you
Yeah,
wrote.
yeah. And the Red Fire Station was built in 3 different parts. 2 of those parts were totally done by volunteers. The fire department did it and financed it themselves. The other one the town paid for and built the second bay. And then the fire company put the second floor on it. I know that there's problems with the electric, with the lighting. I know there's problems with the fire escape. I know that Larry closed the place for public gatherings because of some of these problems like that. But those aren't problems to storage. And the main building is concrete blocks. If somebody wants to fix it and make it all right, it should be repointed in a lot of places and so forth. But if all you're using it for is for storage, what difference does it make? If they'd fixed the roof, the building could stand for 20 years without any significant money spent on it, probably. And
Which
it's
building
got
are we talking
overhead
about right
doors
now?
that work and
Red
all of that
Fire
Yes,
stuff. I
I
mean, you know, it's a usable space for stuff. Highway keeps trailers and stuff in it out of season, things that they don't use. I don't mean that they have to have it, they've got other, you know, they could do other things, but I just think it's stupid to tear it down just to tear it down. And
They
what
have
they're
no
going,
plan
what
for
the
it.
article
No,
is
they
to
do
take the
actually.
money that's already been appropriated for the new roof and use that to tear it down,
Yes.
along with whatever ARPA money they need to grab to put with it, to tear the buildings down.
They want to use it for access, vehicle access.
That road.
Out
Is
to
that
West
written
Road.
down?
No, but that's what, I don't know if it's written
That's
down.
what she had said in the meeting.
Oh,
She did, I didn't catch that.
well, I always said you don't want to sell them, because it's access from this major property onto that
Yeah,
street.
they
Yeah.
just don't want the buildings
They
there.
should not sell the,
They
they
want-
should
they
not
want
sell
the
the
land,
property
yeah.
under any circumstances. But I can't see why I mean, I honestly, I know that they aren't interested. And I know that they don't think people like us are important. They don't think the history is important. But it's a perfectly adequate storage building for a lot of stuff. The Boy Scouts have got to get out of there, the Lions Club has got to get out of there, we've got to get out of there, you know, I mean, it's all, and the fire truck. Now, the Knott is in there, which is the 1928, the first real fire engine the town had, is there. And
How do you spell not?
KNOTT. And the brush, the old muster truck, which was engine 2 from 1946 or 7, was in the basement of the other building, I believe. It's now sitting out in the lot
I
out
saw
back
it,
here.
Yeah.
And
It's out here.
they haven't done a muster for years, and the way they run the fire department now, they don't get the young kids that used to do that stuff. But from my point of view, that's kind of a good truck too, that's nice to have, but that's the other. I don't know what we do if they take these buildings away, you've got no place to keep them. And the fire company was raising money to restore the Knott at one time, but whether the fire company is even active at this point remains to be seen, which is, the fire company was kind of like an organization that helped the town, much the way the Historical Society helps the Historical Commission. It was consisted of the firemen as a club, and they did things like collect money to help if somebody got injured, to get insurance to cover firefighters, and, you know, they did stuff like that. And they bought equipment, and they built a whole fire station once. I don't know about that, but, I mean, Fred immediately identified that as important.
Yes, he did.
But he's kind of out of the fire department now, which he spent his years in that. I need to find out more from that side of the thing as to what might come from some people there
What,
for
Barry,
public interest.
what-
I'd like to fight with them on the town meeting floor if I
Yeah.
had enough support.
Yeah. What is, who is it that is not in favor of, I mean, I'm trying to figure
The
out.
Board of Selectmen,
Well, see, that's what I
And
was
the
trying to get
capital
at.
planning committee.
Is it 3 people? And I'm not sure all 3 of them are as devoted to what's her name?
Preservation, yeah.
I can't, I'm terrible with names.
Well,
these
the
days.
capital
But
planning
the ca-
committee
that-
is on this too. They
Yeah,
want-
so it's a good chunk of the administrative people
But
and,
Eloise is on the capital planning
Yeah.
committee.
because, I was thinking if
Ways to
if
work
we
on it.
have, 8 people who are running this whole thing and there's a lot of people who might be resistant to quite so many things being torn down. I just wondered if that was the case. But it sounds like,
The problem, and Fred brought it up, said it yesterday when we
Yeah.
were talking to him. The people who've lived in the town a long time, or been part of the town for a long time, aren't represented in this group. These are people who are, they're putting the idea that, well, what do we spend any money on that for? We don't need any more. We built a new this, we did this, get rid of this stuff. This is, well, anybody that cares about those old things that was involved in them is eliminated from the process until they get to town meeting. And
yeah,
the other piece that has to come up under this same discussion is, when I read the warrant for the meeting, they want to transfer the West School, the Legion Hall, to the Housing Trust.
and what can the housing trust do with it?
refurbish it for affordable housing.
Either,
See, okay,
yeah,
so
repurpose it
now
for
that's
affordable
where I
housing.
kind of really draw my line, is having an old schoolhouse that kids would enjoy,
That's our last of
Yeah.
the old
Yeah.
schoolhouses that we have.
and that's crazy. I don't care who's listening to this broadcast.
And I
I'm gonna
also
say-
know that the nature of that building is such that they could decide to tear it down to build a new house.
Yeah. I think you got to think of the kids too. And whenever I've ever had kids in the old buildings, when, my own students, it means a lot to them. And
When you have
you can play
something,
that. It's
powerful,
the olden
it's
days,
powerful, yeah.
And
It's the real thing.
it's the real thing. And I think there has to be a limit to this.
So that's the other thing. Now, if that building could come into our care, we could store some of our stuff in part of it.
Or we
And-
could have an old schoolhouse that people could.
And we can,
Yeah.
and we can work on the old schoolhouse thing.
Yeah,
We can take some space on this side of the room and put
yeah.
stuff up and a barrier and then do.
We certainly have desks and stuff in our collection.
Yeah, I
have-
saw some
We have a
yesterday.
few things, yes. And some
So
of,
who owns that
some of the
building?
some of those
Town.
things are actually in the fire station, so
I
those
think-
have to find a home too.
The town owns that building. It's a schoolhouse.
The
right?
town owns it, yeah.
Yeah, that would be criminal. That
And
would be foolishness.
I've always had designs on that.
Yeah.
At some point, when the Legion was done with it, well, the Legion has never said they're done with it to my knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
unless they've done it now. And the selectmen have put some pressure on them about it. They have not really been using it for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
They used to meet in it every month and all that kind of stuff,
They
but
used to let the Girl Scouts meet in it,
oh yeah, the Girl Scouts met
because
there
we used
too.
to go there when we were a cadet
Yeah.
troop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it's not, I know it needs a lot, but I really think it's a possibility. Our big problem is that we've got the Bullet House as an ongoing, not done thing. And trying to take on another one,
Well,
the other town's
Is that-
gonna look at us and say, like hell, you haven't got this one done.
is
Can't have it.
the other one in such bad shape that it can't just go on the back burner until the Bullard House is well along anyway?
Well, I have to get hold of those reports on the town buildings that the select board spent thousands of dollars to have done, and see I haven't seen the ones for any of these buildings, and I'm sure those are the things that are being used to justify all of this. And, you pay somebody $40,000 so they can tell you what you ought to do when you should have brains enough to do it yourself. But
It's just,
that's,
when you have a building that's fairly small, that I mean, it's not like the ones that we're talking about for the Red Fire Station, which is big and it's concrete and all that. That would be pretty easy to fix up, you know. And that would involve children. That makes me feel that
Well-
that's another reason that we
You'd have to, I don't think it would be easy to fix, but it's certainly a good,
It certainly can be used to store some stuff in
Yeah, but-
immediately.
Mm-hmm.
we'd be criticized if we asked to do that with it.
yeah, another building. if
We're gonna be
we-
criticized if we do anything.
Yeah. that's
I don't
right.
care, these
I was-
people are they're against us. Face it, they're against us. You need to understand that.
Well, you know, it's interesting to me that so many of the adults that are opposed to some of this just never grew up appreciing history.
Well, Peggy
it's
grew up
sad.
in Berlin, but she's dubious about interest in history.
Yeah,
She thinks it's lovely and should have pictures around, but beyond that, she's never come to anything we've run.
yeah. I guess it's
Um,
a passing whim.
I did see her at something at 19 Carter, one of the things you did at 19 Carter. I don't know what it was. It was a public thing. I don't remember what it was now, that she did come to. And I did chat with her that day, because I was trying to.
Well, and she supported other things too.
Maybe it was
I
a
mean,
railroad
she's not
thing.
just
I don't
supporting.
think
Yeah, it was probably one of the
Yeah,
railroad, it
wasn't
may have been the
anything-
railroad.
It wasn't
thing.
anything that I put
No,
together.
it may have been one of the railroad things, yeah.
Yeah.
It may
No,
have
I
been
don't.
the
I mean, I
railroad
don't have any personal criticism of her, what she cares the most about, or anything like that. But I just would. It would be nice if she would see what it means to some other people that are in her community, and be willing to. And
how do you
pick a
want-
small. Pick the least expensive thing to restore, and just
How do you want to advocate for any of this?
That's really the big point, is how we can effectively do anything about it. And of course, I'm stuck with being moderator.
I personally, I think it's a lost cause to advocate for the buildings, but I think we should advocate for the fire
For the school.
truck.
Mhm.
I saw it yesterday. I don't know about the other, I've never seen the other, the mustard truck you said
That's
is
the
out
one
here,
out here.
is out here.
Well,
It's out
and,
here now.
yeah.
He's sitting out in the field.
They had it out here for when they had their big open house, and I don't know just all of what was going on with it, so.
And where would it be stored? The fire truck
We don't,
outdoors, or?
they don't have room to store it in the highway building.
I
I mean, you can't.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know what discussions have taken place about any of that.
Yeah.
And I need to talk to Frank Brewer as a starter to find out, maybe, because he's somebody that's still in the fire department that would have been part of that. All the rest of them are gone. Freddie was commenting on the fact that, the way the fire department is and the police department and everything else, nobody's anybody that's been around a long time in Berlin. We got a couple of people from Bolton in the police department that are kind of like locals, but they live in Bolton and they always did. We don't have the people that have depth of experience and interest in the town that are still there. And I mean, Freddie was saying that very thing yesterday.
And what is, and I don't want to go into this now because we get into a whole new topic, but what is replacing that interest? And, you don't have to answer that, that's just a food for thought. What would replace history or the historic items that we have?
Well,
And I
it's
don't know what would.
It's a special town meeting. I don't know how much general interest it's going to get. If you mobilize the Historical Society people and perhaps some old firemen, you might be able to have enough people in town meeting to beat them.
Yeah. Well, and I was, when I said what I said, I was thinking more about, it would have to be something new and contemporary, but what would be that special that we would now hand down? Everything we buy, it's sort of cheap because, you think about some of the stores where you go.
Well, you
buy
can't
stuff
keep
to-
everything. You
Yeah.
can't keep everything.
And so you wonder what will come along that will replace interest in
Maybe nothing.
culture and history. It's kind of scary. You know. But it doesn't mean that we should save a building that's in terrible shape. I mean, I'm not going that far. I think sometimes
No.
you just have to
I mean,
move on.
If
you
you
know.
got a building that's fallen down, the foundation's gone on it, and you're gonna have to spend large amounts of money, I can understand.
Yeah,
But I don't think the old White Fire Station is worth much
yeah,
as it stands. I don't know how strong it is. At one point, they did put a new foundation under one side of it a few years ago. Like
Yeah.
25, when it was still the rescue plan. But the Red Fire Station, from my point of view, they're gonna spend money knocking it down because it's
yeah,
substantial building.
sure.
And if it had the new roof on, if it had the roof fixed, I don't see why it should cost a lot of money to take care of for a number of years, you know? I wish I could say we'd take on the care of it, but we can't at the present time. We don't have money to do that with. And
Lucky
money
to
is a
take care of the
serious
Hearst
problem.
House.
I mean, we are fuzzling along with the Bullet House because we got this CPA money. And we can ask for more of that, but the reality is we don't know how we're gonna fund a lot of stuff in that beyond the money that we've got in hand right now.
Well, we were hoping to connect with CMRPC for the heating. You were going to
To look for money.
see if we could meet with
Yeah,
them.
but you know, one of the questions that I have is, well, I'll save it for another thing. It gets back to that thing I was saying, how many things are we going to juggle at once, and which thing do we want to spend the money on?
Oh, yeah.
Rather, because, you know, and we also have to be able to convince the people that we can do this and can raise the money, but
Well, that's-
but there's a lot. I mean, I keep getting told by people, including the Tim Waikitaki, the money is out there, and so we just need to find out how you get it. That's, I mean,
But
I'm
we
not,
have to be in a
that's not my
position to
field.
use it too.
Right,
I mean, right now, we're
exactly.
not in a position to use any
Right,
heating
and
money.
that's why I was holding back on the whole notion of saying that we want to get money so that we can.
I think we just wanted to ask if they would fund anything like that. That's a very basic question.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they say no, then we don't have to consider it anymore.
Move on to something else.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the basic
And-
question, Janet.
And some of the things that we want to fund, we have to. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to have.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have heat in the Bullard House if you're going to have the Bullard House, you know, that kind of thing, but.
Yeah, it's
um,
fine right now with no water.
Yeah.
But
Well, we haven't really taken care of that, have we?
No, we haven't. I was gonna do that when I was in there the other day, and then I didn't. Empty the tank, start the tank running out, hot water tank running out.
It would be,
I'll try to go there today and do a couple of those things.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
think
but
it
you
would
gotta be-
freeze in the cellar very quickly.
no, it would take a long time.
It'd take a long
It's
time.
been too warm lately, anyway.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah. Okay.
And, West School. I mean, if we're gonna bleed and die over something, I wanna do it on the West School rather than the fire station.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't,
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable advocating for those buildings. I do feel that we should advocate for the I don't know about the muster truck, because I haven't looked at it, but the knot, we should advocate for that, for its preservation. But we have to, you can't just wanna do something without a plan.
Plan.
So if we're asked, where would you keep it and how would you protect it, we have to have an answer.
And that's another problem. The knot, I believe, is owned by the fire company.
Oh. Okay.
Earl Wheeler bought it from the town, when the town got rid of it, and he had it in his garage for years, and after he died, it went to Norman, and Norman gave it to the fire company. And it went back to the fire station, to the old.
So it's not the town's to sell.
I don't think that's the town's to sell.
So the fire company is, what is that, a corporation or what?
It's a club,
A club?
basically, it's a club.
Do they have bylaws? Do they have,
I don't know the answer to that.
well, how do we deal with that?
Well, that's what I say, we
Frank
gotta talk to
Brewer.
people. We gotta talk to a couple of people that
Well,
might
Frank
still be
lives across
involved,
the street from me.
that's still active with it. And find out what the state of the fire company is, and verify that they own the fire truck. But what can they do something with it so that it's safe for a while? And that's another whole question. And then secondly, their plan, after we moved into the fire station here, was that the White Fire Station would become the fire museum. And that they'd keep the knot in the White Fire Station, along with other things, and we have buckets and ladder pots and stuff that would be things and pike poles and stuff. We have a few things in the collection that could go in the fire museum. And we can help to support that, but that was gonna be the fire company. Bruce Ricard, as fire chief at the time, no. He wasn't, Bobby Turbo was still chief, he was deputy chief. Came to the selectmen. I would say in the summer of the year 2000, literally weeks after we moved into this building, and got the selectmen to vote to approve that idea. And, but then nothing really has happened since that I know of. And again,
But it's still a town-owned building. It's still a,
it's still a town-owned building, and I'd love to go back and select men's minutes and find that, but it isn't gonna be of much value if the organization that was doing it is essentially defunct now. So that's the other that's another question about that. So we'll have to look into that, but
well, we've only got a month.
we've only got a month, and we've got, now, we bought the Bullet House at a special town meeting in November. And we had 30 people that were Historical Society people there, 35 people from the Historical Society there to support it, and passed it in the town meeting. And so the right combination of things in a special town meeting, you can do a lot. You don't want the other side to learn too much about what you're doing until they get there. But if you get the right people out that care about a couple of these things, yeah, you might be able to do something. But we've also got to work on a plan. For instance, if you want to save the West School, okay, what's it going to be used for? How's it going to be handled? Who's going to take responsibility for it? And that's another piece. Now, the town did put the highway, they did window work and they did a new roof on it within a few years. So it should be sort of solid for the moment. It does probably have some problems,
The West School.
yeah.
Well, didn't you and Elaine, or just Elaine, visit?
Elaine contacted the Legion to see if we could store some stuff there from the collection. She was looking for what we could do when she was cleaning out she was pushing to clean out the Bullet House. And at first they said we could, but then it was gonna be really temporary and whatever, and
Well, also, she said it was too moldy inside for
health
us.
purposes.
oh, she actually got in there.
Yeah, she
Well,
said
that
it was.
would-
She said it was too moldy and not an appropriate place to put anything. And also the floor.
It hasn't been heated
flo-
for a while.
The floor had, there were holes in the floor, or the
Ooh.
floor was punky in one section, I remember. And I
Yeah,
don't
from
know
the-
if they
of the
ever
roof.
fixed that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it may not even be a viable option.
Hmm?
Well, if it were, it's money.
Mm,
And
yeah.
also, we need a couple more people to help us here. 'Cause,
You know,
I
that-
honestly, I'm at a point dealing with these town officials where I want a piece of property, I want a building someplace that doesn't belong to the town.
mm,
I realize that's a big responsibility and more, and money and all of that, but something that you can deal with without all of the falderall that comes from everything that you try to do on town-owned property now,
well, I agree with you on that.
because that is just impossible.
But we don't have the leadership to accomplish that right now. Or at least I don't see it.
No, it certainly isn't in existence at the moment. Is it potential? It could always be a potential, but not to be organized to deal with this in a month. But I mean, I can't believe that, I'll tell you, I really think if the housing trust gets that, they'll end up tearing it down, building a new building. Because, I mean, Lisa Wysocki is one of them, and she has no interest in anything.
In
That
the
I do.
housing trust.
Yeah. She's one of the leading lights in the housing trust.
well,
I can't believe she'd really be
I
interested in
mean,
fixing up
if
some
the,
mold.
yeah.
No, she's not.
Well, interesting.
Well, I think,
We'd
Mm-hmm.
have to know whether the building could even be fixed up to be healthy enough to be in.
well,
If it's-
you can,
Oh, yeah.
if you've got the money, you can fix anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's,
But, it might be some kind of a compromise.
And of course, some of the problem with the West School, if you're trying to deal with that, is you still got the town and the state procurement laws and all those other things to deal with, depending on how you do it.
Yeah,
I have not adequately tested what can be done
yeah.
if you have somebody else give you the work as a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the Historical Society has spent most of $100,000 in the Bullet House as gifts to the town. There's a $5,000 fire alarm system, there's this, there's that, and so forth. And we did most of that before the procurement stuff was being fought about in the town the way it is now.
everything was done before that,
Yeah, most everything was done before that, and
except our mitigation money. That was,
Yeah.
all the things we paid Walhuter to do, and the sills, that was done with Margaret.
yeah, but it was already, that same stuff was creeping in then with her too. How you can
But
contract work done and all
She
that.
did the procurement for the sills,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But that's, part of the thing is, I don't know how, if we had money, I don't know how much we could use it on town property without still having
No,
a bunch of this stuff.
you'd have to buy it.
Hmm?
To struggle with that is, you'd have to buy the building from the town.
Well, to do a lot, yeah.
To struggle with all of this that we're struggling with now, with another building, I just can't imagine that we have the energy to do
No.
that, you know?
Well, kiss that
Well,
one
and
goodbye
you
then.
said something a minute ago that we should not try to figure out now, but come back to at some point. And that is the numbers of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, who's not here right now. 5 people trying to do some of the stuff. I mean, you're exhausted. I can see it in your
I'm
face.
tired today, yeah. But
And-
that's
And,
from something else.
yeah.
Although I did work to do these extra minutes and stuff.
And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we should think about how to add help that
Well, we
that
can have,
people are committed to.
Barry suggested associate members
Mhm.
rather than try to find official members for a 7 board,
Mhm.
for a 7-member
You can
commission.
still have volunteers help you with anything you want.
Yeah,
Well,
as
that-
long
but-
as they
but
don't
who-
use
but-
machines and.
But who will be, yeah, and I mean, who will find out what the rules are and who would be in, able to give the time and,
Well, I suggested a while back that we have a Friends. We
Yeah, yeah.
really try to engage people in an official way, and nobody wanted to do that. I don't think Ellie was part of that, but.
well, that was quite a long while ago when we weren't doing as many things. When I first came on the board, I mean, we weren't, I didn't feel the same pressure that we're feeling now that we're building things and doing.
Well,
you
of
know.
course.
And so I think our attitude toward that might change.
We need to work on the Historical Society and on that, building that more, and also using that as a way to, I mean, there are some people there that could perhaps help with some of the kinds of things we're doing
Well,
on our table.
I've talked to 2 people to help us, should we get our CPA funding for the clothing. I've zeroed in on 2 people that are easy to get along with and are capable. And that's Catherine Waugh and Bonnie Fallon.
I don't know Bonnie, but I do know Catherine.
Well, she's a new member. Catherine's been a member for a long time of the
Does
society.
Bonnie Fallon live in Berlin?
She lives on Highland Street,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
people like that can be added and get them involved, and if they get involved in working, it can work. But we have to work on doing that, and I have to plead guilty for not organizing better to make some of this stuff happen.
Well, they're both society members,
Yeah.
and I've seen them help us before, and that's why I asked them about would they be interested, and should
I
we
mean-
get the funding?
In the society, we haven't had good luck getting members to do the things for the society, to be on the board and to take an office
But
and
that's
stuff.
always been a problem.
Yeah, well, it's worse.
It's worse.
It's worse now
It's
than it was.
terrible now.
It's worse than it was,
It's terrible.
but yes.
Getting society members, you're saying?
No, getting them to step up and
Oh,
do the jobs in the
do the jobs.
They're very
organization.
happy to come to the meetings, they don't wanna do the work.
Yeah. That's all.
They haven't been given many opportunities.
We haven't worked at
So it's not all
trying to
their
do it.
fault.
That's right, we
I
have
mean,
to
we
keep
had
working.
wonderful participation when we had our yard sale. We had a lot of people help us. And I think there are fewer of them, but they are there. They need to be asked.
And we need to have things out there for them to do, that we can ask them to do.
Yeah.
And that's part of the thing too. And I'm putting in enough time now on the collection
Yeah.
with this every Wednesday thing, and some more time, a lot
Yeah.
of weeks, there's some more time too. That I'm not putting in the time I ought to for the Historical Society,
Well, you can't do both.
making that work.
Right, right.
And so I'm more than aware that that's part of the lack and the problem, but, yes, we need more people to work on things. But we have a acid problem on December 9th about all of these buildings and what, if anything, can be done about it, and is there any part of it that we can do something to try to do something useful with it?
I think that you need to have a society meeting if you want
I
support.
think that's correct. That's one of the things we'll need to do.
Because they probably don't have any understanding
I
of it.
should
I mean,
talk-
our understanding is pretty minimal as it is.
I should talk to Kevin too. Kevin Pond would be good to talk to about some of this, and particularly the fire truck and some of that. Because he's somebody that's got some years in and all of that stuff. At any rate, yeah, that's one of the things, and we'll have to work on it, and maybe we'll need a special meeting of this commission, but to deal with this issue further in the course of this month, but we'll
November 19th, I have a Zoom meeting with the CPAC to talk about our CPA
The
proposal. And I guess no one else needs to come, but if you want to come,
I'll be there.
you'll be there anyway.
Anyway.
If anybody else wants to come, then I need to post it.
Why don't, I mean, maybe this would be a time when the two of you, since you're, or unless you don't want to do it. But
No,
And
I
that
have
You
is
have to
gonna
do
be-
it.
I wrote the proposal, so I have
That
to.
project
yeah.
is great, and it's a good thing to do and all, but it's gonna be a hell of a lot of work on our part to make it.
which project are you talking about now?
The
clothing.
clothing
Oh, the
collection
club,
thing.
yeah.
Because we've gotta organize stuff so that her time is
Is well spent.
efficiently
Yeah.
And now,
spent.
see, this is where we need those extra people.
We come up with about 450 pieces to deal with.
Yeah, but
And that's
we need-
without the shoes and
Yeah.
the hats.
We need to get, we can't do it ourselves, not with everything else we're trying
Well,
to
that's
do.
why I've asked these two if they're interested. Yeah.
And so, I guess we're not used to having more than 5 people running the show, and it would still be the 5 people that would have the
gotta
last
ex-
There's
word.
no reason why we can't get society people and other people
Yeah,
in the town
yeah.
involved.
And we just need to
And
know
we
what to
can-
ask them
if
to
we
do.
if we get something out and we can put stuff in the newsletter with Lucy about it, we may get some more people to volunteer.
Well, again, I was thinking maybe when we send out something
I
like
think
that.
you better do one-on-one,
When we,
because that's, you need to make some phone calls.
Well, my thing about that is not, please come and help, but rather, this is what we're doing. Tell them about the project
I think
and the
break,
clothing collection and get them excited, get perhaps some people excited about it. Then you might be able to call
Well-
people and get it, but you need something going in their heads
Well,
about it first.
I wasn't focusing on the clothing collection that much, because I understand your, it's not reticence, but our ability to take on these 2 volunteers and
Oh, yeah.
make it work with the
Oh, yeah.
consultant. So I'm not sure we need more volunteers for that, but we need a way
Yeah.
to expose what we're doing. And
That's
then
what I mean.
if someone else should come forward and say, I'd love to do that, then maybe we could take on a 3rd person, or maybe one of the other 2 doesn't want to. I mean, I haven't pressed them on it, but, yeah.
One of the things that's happened with this newsletter, the Powder House News, it's now the town. The selectmen are paying for it now, one way and another. And therefore, the problem of how you do, and it's, the whole town government should be able to use it. And so, there's no question but what we can put articles in about what the historical side of things is
but you
doing. And
It is once a month now, which is a little better.
it's every month?
It's every month now.
Oh, it isn't every other month, it's every month?
It's every month. It
Oh,
was-
that's good, that means there's one coming up.
Well,
before.
does Lori still set it up?
I don't, talk to Lucy, Lucy will know all about that stuff. Why is Lucy involved if Laurie's setting it up?
I don't think Lucy is involved.
Oh, I think she is.
She just wants to put things in it, but she doesn't really have anything to do with it.
Oh, well, find out, we'll find out. But at any rate, there's no reason we can't put stuff in it and use that as a way to get to the
You have to
town.
meet the deadline.
I mean,
I don't know
I'm
what
back
that
to
is.
Heritage News.
Oh,
We can't afford to do that these days, the way that we used to. But we can put articles that we would put in the Powder House News and get information out to the general public
you
on
could
things.
email Heritage News. It wouldn't have a huge,
It sure wouldn't.
but.
I have nothing great to say about that. All I know is the church is dying because they're living on email and not sending anything to people anymore. And that's one of the reasons you're dying, is a lot of the people don't pay any attention to it.
Well, that can happen. That's
I
true.
agree, you can put stuff out by email, and that can be done too. I don't mean we shouldn't try to do that too. But I am thinking that Powder House News, they're looking for stuff to put in it, and there's no reason we can't put more stuff in about what we're doing, or what we're trying to do, or what our goals are about something.
I think too that if the more specific we can be about what people can do to help,
Oh,
the
yeah.
better. Very specific, and they're
That's
small
right.
things, like,
Yeah.
because people don't have the kind of time to do some of these things that.
You never know, you just never
Well,
know,
and-
I
and
agree,
there-
but
therefore,
you never
if you
know.
can come up with small pieces of things,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna put you in charge of thus and so, and, then you feel like, oh my gosh, and I'm probably not doing this well enough, or doing enough for it, or whatever. But if I know that what I'm gonna do is clean everybody's glasses, I mean, I'm just coming up with something silly
Yeah.
because, but something that isn't
Yeah.
very time consuming, is needed,
It's
and-
just a one-shot thing, or maybe 2 meetings.
yeah, one shot, and if they
Yeah.
like it, they can come more often,
Yeah.
but keep it small and simple, because, especially people who are working people and who really don't have a lot of time, but would really love to be engaged in it.
And we've got the potential for doing the senior work-off too,
Yeah.
the veterans work-off,
Yeah.
those things too.
So maybe just, when you wake up in the middle of the night and can't sleep, and you think of 3 things that might fit into somebody's life pretty nicely that we could get them to help us do,
Yeah.
well, wake up and write it down, and
Yeah.
just start a little collection of those things,
But we shouldn't think of ourselves as only 5 people and there's no more. We really need to think in terms of how we co-opt
Yeah.
other people into things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Evie can help us with some of that, in that she has the facility, she has the the attitude to engage people and engage people and engage people. And so, we might be able to team up with some
Yeah.
of the other organizations.
Actually, they come to her now.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's driven, the things that happen there are driven by, well, I don't know what the right word is, but they're people asking to do a certain thing there.
Hmm.
They're not her looking the other way.
Hmm.
And it happens every day.
Hmm.
It's just amazing. It's really but we don't have that presence so that people will.
At the
it's
present
different.
Well, you don't need
Yeah.
that presence. We will create our own presence, because we're a different.
No, well, that's not quite what
Breed,
I mean. I'm
different organization.
just saying that we're not out there enough.
People don't see us to say,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I've got an idea.
And we're not going to be. I mean, we're
Well, I'd
just
like to
barely
be.
hanging on by our
I would like
fingertips
to be
now.
to some extent.
Hmm?
I think that we should try to aim for that to some extent.
Yes, but it that's part
Because
of
when
bringing
the
it.
Bullet House gets going, I would like it to be a vibrant part
Right.
of people's.
But you have to bring the people.
community.
You have to bring the people in. So what I'm saying is that, I think I'm saying the same thing you are. I think I'm just
Well, I
coming
think-
at it from a different angle.
We should be doing program now that we would do in the Bullet House, some of it. And we can do it
Yeah.
in Memorial Hall. We
Yeah.
can do it in the town hall. You can do stuff in the daytime, you can do stuff, we should be doing stuff that way.
But we need a team of people who
Because
will
that
help.
is part of how you get the people going and
Yeah.
getting involved
Yeah.
and having more happening.
And
So
just
we
a
need
bigger
to
team than us.
Think in terms of that.
Yeah.
We need to think in terms of that. And if we can get some of that, that's how you're gonna draw the people in that we want to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have more agenda?
Yeah.
It's getting
Um,
late.
Well, first, yeah, it's really late. Demolition delay, do you have anything to say?
I don't have anything to say. I had I had something come to me, and I don't even know whether they intended to send it to me because they didn't have a place for us to check off on it. It was a job on something that I didn't think was important at all. It was demolition of something or other so you can do this when you're doing a bigger project kind of thing. And I didn't, now it's foggy in my head what it was about. It was about a week ago. But it wasn't, it didn't have a place for us to have to check it off or do a review. So my answer is I didn't worry about it. So,
I've asked to meet with the FinCom in February so that we can ask for money for a whatever software you want or a computer. So that was a having it come from the budget wasn't a suggestion, but Lucy has identified those things as needed. But you're gonna have to, we're gonna have to have some specific information if indeed we wanna go forward with that. But, so that puts another burden on you.
Well,
since, you know,
we need to do the budget, and if you wanna put something, if you wanna get anything for money out of the finance committee, you gotta put it in now.
I don't have that paperwork yet.
December 1st.
Do you have the paperwork for the cemetery
No.
commission? No, I don't have any paperwork.
No, but I think I have seen something about a planned meeting for it. I don't know. We'll check and see if there's a notice around someplace.
Well, anyway, we have a slot if we want to go before the FinCom and ask for more money.
But you've got, the proposals need to be ready for December 1st.
Okay, well then, I don't really want to rely on Lucy to, unless you want to talk to her about, and I don't think that you have enough interest in doing it on your own either.
I'm not excited about it.
No, I know.
I'll say this, Marty was giving me a walking tour of the work he's doing with images. Oh. And I've got one of the
Hard drives.
hard drive things that I'm gonna try on my computer so I can just see if I can go through pictures some. The number of things he's got, and of course, he's putting a whole pile of his images that he's taken around town into.
It's been 20 years of,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous. And then there's old pictures, anything that he's got a digitized form of, he's stuck that in it. And so things that we've used for different purposes, that we've copied for somebody or whatever, are in there. And he's just working on it to organize it more. And he's got 2 of these disk drives, and he's gonna have,
One is backup.
and yeah, I mean, the point is they're backing up each other. And I've taken this one for this week so I can review it a little and get more understanding of it all. And then he's gonna have them there, and each time he works on it, he's gonna update both of them. So he's doing that every week. But this is tremendous. And the other piece of that is, if our old computer that we've got now there is not gonna be able to handle this, I'm gonna try to use it with mine, because mine's relatively new. It's only a year or so old. If I'm successful with that, I'm gonna try it with that one that's up there and see what happens there. If it really can't handle it, then that's all the more reason that we need to have something new. And this is something that's forcing me to consider.
Yeah. Because right now, we're dependent on Marty's laptop.
Yes, I mean, keep in mind, Marty's project, yeah, we bought some stuff for him, but he's using his hardware to do this with.
So,
June, before we close, I just want to ask you, or I can ask you afterwards too, but another question. You were starting to talk about the FinCom and what we needed to get money from. And I'm very ignorant about this, but I feel like I'm not doing that much. And if I could take something related to this, because you kind of groan like, oh no, not another thing I have to do. Is it anything I can do?
I think,
And then you wouldn't
I
have
think
to.
if you want to find out from CMRPC
Yep.
how they could help us with the kinds of things we need money for.
Okay.
Can they
I would-
help us?
I would love to.
Yeah.
And one of them is
Talk
the,
about
is the
that.
heating system.
Yeah, and we
That
wanted you
we're
to ask
looking,
about
and
that.
you want to tell them we're looking at having a new SDHV,
High velocity,
Small
small
duct,
duct.
high velocity, yeah.
High
But-
velocity.
But SDHV, it should be numbers, things they know. We're looking at the idea of that kind of a system, and would there likely be money around that we could go after
Yes.
for that?
Okay.
That would be a good one to be
All right.
asking them about.
Does that suit other people? Does that sound like a good
I
job
think-
for me?
Yeah.
Well, we assigned it to you last time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or-
Well, I mean, this has been a sort of a standing assignment
Oh,
for
yes.
a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know
Well-
how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. And furthermore, I didn't feel like we were quite ready. We hadn't even talked to
well,
Tim. We hadn't even
ta-
talked to Tim yet. So back then. So
Well,
We
well,
talked
and
to
we
Tim
aren't,
September 23rd.
Right.
we aren't ready
That
to
was
move
not
ahead
that
with the
long ago.
system now.
Yeah.
We're still researching it.
yeah, yeah.
But the question is, what might be the prospects
Right.
for
Yeah,
some sources that we
Yeah.
could go after for money for that?
yeah.
That's
I
all
think,
I
I mean,
have.
All right, I'll work on that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
One more question that's kind of random, but I was thinking about some of our other projects besides the Bullard House. Has anything ever come out about the mill dam?
Yes. I'll send you the latest on that.
Okay.
What is that?
The mill dam.
Oh, the mill dam.
Yeah.
Oh. We need another thing to.
Well, I was just,
work
I
on.
was thinking, what, besides the clothing collection and some of this stuff, what are we doing? And I thought, oh,
The only thing we've really done is ask to be a
included.
stakeholder.
Yeah.
And also, I definitely put out there that we would like something physical to remain, to
Good.
show what was there.
Yeah.
That's about it so far.
I mean, my thought would be if we could save about 30 or 40 feet of it right around where the mill used to be, the rest of it could go.
Yeah.
And that isn't gonna be any problem to the brook and all of that business. And that would mean that they could still do what they wanna do.
Well,
But-
they'd have to make it safe, but they'd have to make the area safe, or,
Well,
I mean, you know
whatever
what I
that would
mean? It
mean,
would
yeah.
have to be, well, I don't know what they would do to it, but hopefully we could have something to remind us of what happened there.
Well, enough so that there's some massing of the idea of a stone dam, and that I would really like it to include the part where the mill
The
thing was,
spillway.
because that, there's at least some sense then of something else happening in the area. And the rest of it, we let go,
Yeah.
and
We've
that,
had, History Matters, I've had a display
yeah,
of photographs that were taken with Bill Wheeler. This is a long time ago now. And then later, Marty and I went again a couple years ago. And then the curio cabinet that houses the display has been up there a long time, so that people would know about it. But it's time for me to take it all down, so.
Now that's the kind of thing you could get a volunteer to do. I bet you there's a million things that we are running around doing ourselves. That you
That's
could
a
get.
History Matters thing, though. It's not a commission thing. But
Who cares?
but as a
Frees you up to do commission stuff.
well, no,
Doesn't work.
no. But I do. They are gonna help me with a program next year.
Who's going to help you?
It's musical, sort of, not a history of music, but
Musical, that's enough.
it's music
Yeah.
through,
Move to adjourn.
yes.
Second.
All
Third.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimously approved.
12:53.
This is a long meeting.
Yeah.
We have to.